You found the Tony Basilio stream at TonyBasilio.com or on your smartphone or tablet. Another thrilling, chilling, and sometimes spilling edition of the Basilio Show is on the way next. Tips are always appreciated here at TonyBasilio.com. Found TonyBasilio.com, home of the Tony Basilio Show. In just a few minutes, we'll be right with you with another award-winning, action-packed edition.
WJBE, 1040 AM, 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
It's pretty incredible. Fired up folks and prepared for you as it is, and often imitated, never duplicated. Please, whatever you do, well, do not try this at home. Just my advice for those aspiring to do this. As you listen today, just kind of listen, enjoy, learn. But do not try this at home. I would not recommend it, especially not around mixed company. It is your Thursday edition. John Adams will be here shortly, presented by Jennifer Morris, Next Move, SmokyMountains.com. John is, he's finna join us. Matt Dixon, as you've dug into the baseball Vols and really did your numerical deep dive, is this team kind of better or worse than you thought they were when you start looking at the numbers? Where are you here? Talk to me here. Talk to me here. Better or worse than you thought?
Yeah. Well, I mean, from probably the preseason, I would say they're about where I thought they'd be. Obviously, the 20-0 start was kind of a little bit of fool's gold. And they just kind of feasted on some really bad pitching, and a lot of things just didn't translate. Guys didn't develop like they thought. I think the Keelan injury is probably a bigger deal than it appeared at the time, because it took your best bat out of your lineup for a few weeks, and then when he returned, it took away some DH opportunities for a bunch of your younger guys that really need at-bats at this point in the year. And you're to a point now where you can't afford to have guys work through things. So they've been really close at times to breaking through and getting some wins, but it just hasn't happened for them. So, I mean, they're, when you look at it, compared to previous national champions and just overall in the SEC, it's still a pretty good year, which really goes to show you just how incredible of a job Tony Vitello and those guys have done here over the last 8 years. I mean, it's the best program in the sport, and fans are panicking and extremely disappointed. And there's still a chance that you can host a regional and potentially even a super regional in Lindsey Nelson this year as the defending national champion.
Which is almost unheard of. For teams to even get back to the deal is very difficult. For you to which looked like a certainty, a couple of weeks ago, because these guys, we're so used to them doing things that just for other programs in that sport just don't happen because they've made it look so easy. But yeah, nothing's coming easily right now to these guys. I mean, nothing is coming easy. So, and I mean nothing. So, I'm fired up, focused, and prepared. Pretty pumped. Hey, Matt, what do you think of that 8 o'clock Eastern start tonight? That's going to be a little bit of a challenge, isn't it? Turning around a game story and all that.
Better if Liam Doyle was on the mound, but they're switching it up a little bit with going with Marcus Phillips for game one, which is an interesting move. Because I think Arkansas, they have the TBD for their game for game two, and that's when Tennessee's pitching Liam Doyle. So it's almost like, I don't think this is true, but it almost felt like Tennessee's kind of conceding tonight, and they have tomorrow night's game circled as the one that they have to win. Which I don't think that's necessarily true, but there's probably a little bit of strategy involved in it.
So
Berkey's on the call tonight, right?
Berkey's on the call. Berkey's on the golf course. Berkey's on the call. Berkey couldn't be bothered to do the show today. He couldn't be bothered to do the show because he's on the freaking golf course. I mean,
he's out there paying Dave Neal money on the golf course.
I mean, that's exactly right. I don't even know what to make of Chris Burke at this point. But this ball club, hey, Berkey never quit believing. Say what you want to say about Berkey, but Berkey never, and I mean ever, stop believing. Today over at Twitter, we're running a poll. And the poll is as follows, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. What do you think of this? What do you think of this Nike stuff? Nike, Adidas. I'm running a poll question right now. Matt, what do you make of it? What do you make of this? And our fans are outraged. Outraged.
Yeah, I don't know what all's going on behind the scenes with it. I think Nike's a lot better than Adidas. I don't have a huge opinion on it. I don't buy a ton of. I buy Nike shoes and then obviously Tennessee stuff, but I think Nike's a lot better than Adidas, but I don't know how much it matters. It used to matter in basketball recruiting. I don't think it does anymore in the NIL era.
Yep.
So, whatever. I'm sure Danny White's trying to make as much money as possible, and we'll see if this is more of a negotiation deal or if there's some real smoke behind it.
Go over to T Club. Go over to at Tony Basilio on Twitter X and take a vote. I ask the following: Living Vol fan, for my merch, gimme Nike, Adidas, or anything but Adidas. Nike 64%, anything but Adidas 21%, Adidas 15%. Brian, why is there such a visceral seemingly hatred from our fan, which I'm not a fashionista, so it doesn't matter to me one way or another. I'm not a fashionista. I'm still wearing a Tennessee hoodie made by Columbia back in the day. Wearing that around. But, Brian, What do you think of the whole Nike Adidas thing? And I'd like the living listener to talk to me as well. Why are we so viscerally anti-Adidas when my understanding with Nike is they haven't exactly adorned themselves in glory behind the scenes with these uniforms, and they've had some issues with Nike. No offense to them. I don't really have a dog in the hunt one way or another, but Brian, what say you on this issue?
They need something to be mad about as part of it. And I would rather stay with Nike because since Nike came along, I think Rick Barnes' entire tenure has been with Nike. I believe he went to Adidas just before, or switched from Adidas just before he got hired. So
you're strobing, Brian.
With the Nike.
Yeah, you're in a spot today, Brian, where you're strobing around. I'm gonna let you get. I'm gonna let you reconnect. Because you're strobing. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what the kerfluffle's all about and why people are so tore up over this. So if you could educate me at 865-200-5402. We've really been not taking phone calls the last couple days because we've had a ton of guests. Today we're wide open. So I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to get your thoughts on just this whole thing that's out there, and man, people online are really tore up over this deal. Here's the deal with Danny White. I'm going to give you a little look-see into him. If he can make more money doing something, he's going to take more money. I don't know if you've noticed that. He's not worried about your fashion. In fact, he could care less. And let me give you another little fact of the matter, which, hey, I'm not here to break any bad news toward anybody, but if they go to Adidas, you're going to buy a bunch of Adidas stuff. They know that. It's just like in baseball, Bri. Have you ever seen anything more hideous than these City Connect jerseys, Bri?
No.
No.
Well, maybe I have, but I've tried to forget and unsee it really quickly.
Yeah. Well, let me share something with you here. The truth is, when I was down at spring training this year in Philly, because their fan base all bitched about those City Connect, are the worst thing I've ever seen, they're the ugliest thing I've ever seen, they're offensive. A bunch of people were wearing them. And that's what Danny knows. They all know that. That's why that's why Adidas, allegedly, is trying to buy their business. I know nothing about it. But I do know people are upset about it. Go ahead, Brian.
The NBA, that's why they keep coming up with all these nasty-looking new jerseys that I wouldn't be caught dead in if I wore that kind of thing.
That's exactly right. But they know there's nothing we can't put our logo on that you won't buy. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So, did you guys see Caduce to Andrew Dutton? Matt, have you seen this story? That's a beautiful story, man. Pretty cool. We celebrate things like this. Played 4 years at Birmingham Southern, leading them to the D3 College World Series. And if you'll remember, their school was closing as they were playing in the postseason. So they were playing for, that's like a movie. They were playing for a school that was ceasing to exist while they were wearing the uniform. He's a graduate student, first base coach at Auburn this year. They gave him an at-bat last night, Matt, and he hit a ball out of the park. How great is that, buddy? Is that not what it's all about?
Yeah. It seems like everybody on Auburn's roster was hitting it against South Carolina. But yeah, no, that's a really cool story.
Poor Auburn. They are very good this year. Matt, how many teams out of our deal do you think are capable of going to the College World Series? What's the number?
From every SEC team that makes the field can get to the College World Series.
You think
they can't all win it, but I would say I would think it wouldn't be stunning if about 10 of them won it though. But every SEC, if you make the field from the SEC, you're good enough to get to Omaha without question.
Even us?
Yeah, absolutely. Tennessee could easily get to Omaha.
Have we underachieved this year? I mean, I know we're not allowed to say things like that out loud. A friend of mine said, I'm going to give you your 5,000-mile credibility check. Text me yesterday. Is Tennessee underachieved? Yes or no? He said, no, I want a quick answer. Don't think about it. And I thought, yeah, they've underachieved. For the roster they have. Yes or no, Matt?
I mean, maybe a little bit. Here down, they haven't developed as a team, but they overachieved the first half of the season.
That's a great point.
Which obviously was non-conference play, but they also swept Florida. You won series at Alabama and at Ole Miss. So you were 9-1 in the league at one point. So you kind of overachieved early, and now you've kind of underachieved or here down the stretch, that's kind of balanced that out. But I mean, you replaced so much from last year's team. And maybe not even just the talent, but just the intangibles and that clutch gene and that experience that some of those guys had. This team was never going to replicate, no matter how much more talented they are. Especially, I think they have more talented arms, but last year's pitching staff was a lot more effective than this one.
Somebody said it earlier. Last year's pitching staff had more variety, and I wonder if they go out in the offseason and try to address that. Because we have trouble with the soft-tossing mid-80s guys, Matt. We don't have any of those guys on our roster right now. It's nice to have change-of-pace pitchers, I think, within a particular pen, rather than just having all showcase arms, which is predominantly what we have right now.
Yeah, no, I think you do need that variety. So no, it's a good point. I mean, you always lean towards the more talented and better arms, but I do think you need a little bit more of those kind of crafty, I mean, Dylan Lloyd's kind of that, but
yeah.
The Kirby Cannells and Xander Sechrist and Redmond Walsh type guys. I do think there's a place for guys like that. And I mean, even a guy like Drew Beam, who through, in quotes, only mid-90s, but he was a lot better of a pitcher than he was just an arm. So I do think there is some truth to that.
One of the great mysteries of baseball, and then we'll go to the phones, is when you watch these guys and only throw the ball in the mid-90s, but their stuff plays up. Now, the Vandy starter was not sharp the other day, the Sunday guy. But, man, that kid, they got him out of the Northeast, I don't know, like New Hampshire or whatever. God knows, I mean, what kind of baseball he was playing up there. It had to be cold as ice. He throws the ball like mid-80s, but he changes his pitches. He works extremely quickly. And he's very effective at this level. Very effective. Because, as they say, Matt, even though the radar gun says one speed, it looks like the ball's jumping out of his hands and moving quicker. It's an interesting thing about pitching. It's hard to define versus we got some guys on our team that hit 100 and they get hammered. It's a strange thing about that sport.
Yeah. It's one of the interesting things with all these numbers that go way too deep into it with spin rates.
Yep.
Doyle's kind of that way, where his pitches fastball plays a little bit
plays up
faster than the numbers because it has the high spin rates and stays high in the zone. AJ Russell is that way with his high spin rates and his really unique release point where it kind of jumps on the hitters a little bit quicker than it plays because he only throws like 93, 95, but it plays faster than that. And then, like Nate Snead and Tanner Franklin, they can touch triple digits about every outing, but it doesn't necessarily play that fast, which it's a very fascinating and weird deal to see because it plays out on the field that way.
Oh, they get hit. Yeah,
like especially Snead. Yeah. Snead cannot get strikeouts. For a guy that
throws
that can throw 100, he just doesn't get strikeouts. It's really a fascinating kind of thing to watch.
And if you're into physics, you could tell me all about it. By the way, Nike or Adidas, let's talk about it. This Tennessee baseball team, have they underachieved at this point? Hey, Matt, give me the home and road splits on this team because it is absolutely bizarre. And then we'll go to the phones. And then the third thing is Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. You get a vote. What do you say? I say no. I say never for the Hall of Fame for that guy. Like, never. And I wore a Pete Rose shirt when I was 12 years old. Hustle makes it happen. I can still picture myself. Mrs. Moran next door, she wasn't a big Pete Rose fan. She used to give it to me for wearing a shirt that had Pete Rose on it. Matt, what say you on the Rose situation?
I never like saw him play, so I don't have a strong opinion on it either way. He probably deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, but I wouldn't argue for the guy if you wanted to keep him on. He was a Hall of Fame player, one of the best hitters of all time. He probably deserves some kind of spot in Cooperstown, but I don't know. I mean, I think there's a spot for guys like Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens too. But on the flip side, I don't know how you differentiate all that because, I mean, like Sammy Sosa was not going to be anything close to a Hall of Famer without steroids. So, but do you keep him out for a guy like Bonds and Clemens who were obviously Hall of Famers long before they started juicing? So I don't know. It's kind of a fascinating deal. I think they probably a guy like Rose should be in, but I don't know how you distinguish because I mean all that stuff's just kind of crazy. So.
To the phones we go. 865-200-5402. I'm sitting here tonight. A real opportunity for this baseball team. The home road splits, Matt. They just finished up a terrible home season. How many SEC wins out of 15, Matt, did we get at home? What's the number?
They went 29-9 overall, but that's obviously fluffed up. I think they went 7-8 at home.
Oh,
I think that's right.
That is painful.
Because they have 8 road wins.
Oh,
so that would it would be. So not only did they not win every series, they didn't even finish 500 at home in league play, and that's with the 3-0 sweep of Florida to start it.
How do you do that?
So they went 4-8 at home after sweeping Florida.
Hey, Brian, you want to blame the student? Brian, you want to blame the student section for that? You go ahead and blame the student. I don't blame the student section for that. You're 7-8 at home in front of that crowd.
8 of your last 10 road series dating back to 2023. 8 of your last 10.
Well, you heard yesterday Levi Clark, and you've heard several of these guys on our Wednesday deal, which is incredible. Our Rather and Kittrell Capital Management World Champs Wednesday. Let me tell you something. These guys relish going on the road. They love wearing the black hat. They love getting booed. They love getting jeered. They love getting things thrown at them. Now, I will argue that the LSU series changed when the guy threw the baseball onto the field. Was he throwing it at one of our players? I don't know. But that altered the series. Because after that, it was in a total funk. But let's go back to the phones. That night ended in a total funk. And I'm not sure the Vols have recovered since then. John Adams asked me yesterday, Matt, if he ever gets on here, what would the season, if they would have won the Friday night LSU game, what would the season look like right now? Would it look different? I'd like to say yeah, but this team has a propensity to show zero momentum. That's everything about this team. One result does not beget another result. They don't string things together. They string bad things together. But it's like Heflin said. Will Heflin said on one of our Garza Law, which will be here Saturday, by the way. He said, our extra innings show, he said, I've never seen a baseball team that doesn't feed on itself like this one. This team does not fuel itself. Let's go to the phones. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's
from
weird.
at bat to at bat, from inning to inning and game to game, it's the truth. They just kill their own momentum. It just feels like they're playing uphill from the start of every game. And obviously if you win that series opener in LSU, because you dominated the next game, but you don't know how LSU would have responded to that. But you came out that next day with Marcus Phillips, and dominated LSU again. And pulled away late, and really she should have had a 2-0 lead in that series. And who knows what you do? You probably doesn't change much because, like you said, this team just for whatever reason can't carry momentum. And just whether it's self-inflicted or you're just playing other good teams and you make a few small mistakes and they turn into big mistakes.
Yep.
It's just weird. This team's just missing something.
Back to our phones we go. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, Tony. Hey, Matt. It's Taylor. I think this team could benefit greatly, and I'm not trying to be a smart aleck with this, Tony and Matt, but by a sports psychologist. Remember, Smoltz really benefited by it, and this team has gotten there's different players you can see. They've got the yips. They're worried about making a bad throw. They're almost praying the ball does not get hit to them. And honestly, I'm being dead serious. I think a good sports psychologist could do a lot of good for this youngest team in the SEC. What do you think about that, Tony? And
I think it's real curious, man. And I think it's interesting how there's a weird vibe about these guys, just a very strange vibe. I do think the young players are going to be very, very, very good. Taylor, I was looking at a number yesterday because you brought up. Give him the numbers on Chapman, Matt, in SEC play that we found because I wanted Taylor's thoughts on this.
I think it's like a 36% strikeout rate in league play. I mean, obviously, he's just really struggling and going through it right now.
36%, T. Not even putting the ball in play. I mean, how has this happened to him?
Yeah, he's going through it, Tony. There's no doubt. But as you know, you won't find a better kid, a more loyal kid.
Oh, I know that, but you don't get to play when you're 36% striking out. It's great that you're a loyal kid, but it's a meritocracy. You got to put the bat on the ball. Come on, man.
I hear you, but I'd love to look at the numbers for Amick when he went 0 for 22 last year. I don't remember his strikeout percentage, but it was quite high, and Coach Vitello stuck with him.
But he had the stroke. He played the stroke. He played the Billy Squire.
Well, everybody's stolen that, by the way. It was about 4 different SEC teams that have stolen the stroke. It's despicable. Tony and Matt, seriously, I think a sports psychologist could be very helpful. I don't say that with any I'm being dead serious. I think that would be a big help. This is in these kids' heads. They're young, but also they don't have a lot of continuity.
No.
The best teams have played together for numerous seasons. And I mean, here's the deal, Tony. We've got true freshmen that are 20 years old. Marcus Phillips is 20 years old. And what is he, a redshirt sophomore? So he's the same age as Manny Marin, Newstrom, and I'm missing another one. There's another real old freshman, not Levi. Levi's a normal 19-year-old freshman. But point being is we've got some very seasoned true freshmen, and those guys will pay their dividends next year. But the reality is when you bring in transfers that are transfer portal players that are going to play for you for just 1 year, we've had a lot of success with them. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Gavin Keelan, stud, Fisher, stud, Dole, stud. But you don't have the continuity and the leadership with these one-and-done players. It's just almost impossible to take over the leadership on a team when you're there for 1 year and 1 year only. And I think that's hurt this team.
Hey, Taylor, Nike or Adidas? You have a preference? You care?
I don't really care, but the reality is Danny Dollar will go with Under Armour if they pay more. I mean, that's the
if Sports Belt came back into existence, okay, or I don't know, they might still be. I'm not trying to be funny here, but if somebody like that came to him and said, "Hey, we have a deal," and it was $1 more than what they're making, he's doing it. That's who this guy is.
He'd wear pony jerseys if they paid $1 more.
There is no doubt. They would probably change our school colors if somebody offered him enough money. That guy.
He'd forget about Pantone 151 so quick and make your head spin.
No doubt. No doubt.
So real quick, on the way out, you talk about velocity, right? And I do worry that we will no longer recruit the Redmond Walshes of the world and the Kirby Connells because they're not showcased, they're not elite. Although I think Kirby was a pretty high draftable player, or excuse me, high recruit, highly regarded recruit. But anyway, Kirby could throw 91, 92, but here's what would happen: it would be flat as heck, and as Frank Anderson says, flat gets hit out of the ballpark. But when he took it down to 87, he got movement, and thus swing and misses, or swings and not hitting the barrels, right? So I think that's some of the challenges when you get some of these guys that are hard throwers. Sometimes that spin rate goes down when you try to throw it 100, but if you took a little bit off and got down to 95, you're going to have more swing and misses because you got more movement on that fastball.
Truly one of the great mysteries. One of the great mysteries, and thank you, Taylor, of baseball at all levels is how some guys can just miss bats. Doesn't matter the velocity, it's miss bats. 865-200-5402. So I want to talk about this Adidas Nike thing that's got people all charged up. If it's got you charged up, talk to me. Why are people so vehemently against Adidas, the German soccer company? Again, I'm wearing something that's like I found at Goodwill. It's like a 2010 Major League Baseball playoff shirt from the Phillies. So I'm the wrong guy to talk to about a fashionista. I am not. I was in some of my finer clothes sitting on a street corner in Philadelphia after my son graduated from college, true story, playing guitar, and a guy walked up to me and he flipped me $20 and said, "Go get yourself something to eat." So I'm the wrong guy to ask about fashion. But I'm asking you today. Take me under wings here. Take me under wings on our TLD Logistics Hotline. And then this baseball team, they underachieved at this point? Or is this about where they should be? I'm with Matt. I'd say they've slightly underachieved for the roster they have. But I don't think the season's over. And I do think if they get to a super regional, it's an all-time great job. If they get back to a super regional, that's a great job. Just like if the football team goes 9-3 this year, which I saw some win totals on the football team. Man, are you kidding me? Well, I'll get Brian Hartman to go through some of those totals on the other side. The number for the Vols is 8.5. We continue with more on the other side right after this.
It's the hottest postgame show on the planet. Garza Law, fifth quarter fan reaction. Fan reaction. As soon as the final gun sounds, we're live.
Tony Basilio, and we've got Chad Stockton with FC Alliance. Chad?
Well, I'm up in Johnson City, Tennessee with our FC Alliance North location that we started this past fall. We are doing well. We kickstarted the spring season with games this past weekend, and we've got more games coming up the next few weeks. So we're excited about what the springtime holds for us. Our girls' ECNL is also into the middle of their spring season. They hosted a huge weekend this weekend coming from Pittsburgh and New York, the teams they hosted. Good results, hard teams. They played all weekend long. We've got such a focus on skill development and focusing on what's the right way to play for our kids. As we continue to grow, we're expecting our programs to continue to grow like they have been the past few years. Our tryouts are coming up in late May. For the U12 and under, it's the middle of May, and then for the older kids, it'll be late May. But we're expecting to grow not only in Knoxville, but also in Johnson City.
And if you want more information, you can see what Chad's talking about and hear those kids and get involved. It's FCAllianceKnox.org. Again, FCAllianceKnox.org. Hey, Chad, thanks, man. Many happy returns, my brother.
Thank you, Tony.
Listen up, baseball fans. It's time to step up to the plate and get some new Tennessee gear from Alumni Hall. Don't you dare swing and miss by shopping elsewhere. Alumni Hall has the best selection, top brands for you to choose from. Shop in store, 3 Knoxville locations, or Bristol or Murfreesboro. Anytime, online, anywhere in the world at alumnihall.com. Come grab your Tennessee baseball jerseys. Incredible. Oh, Coach Vitello's jersey, hats, decals, t-shirts, and so much more. Earn $10 in rewards for every $150 spent. Shop Alumni Hall, your ultimate Tennessee shopping destination. Go Vols from Alumni Hall. Tony Basilio along with the great Mark Griffin. And we're here to talk about our friends at Performance Medicine. And Griff, their slogan, stay educated, stay healthy. That's you.
Wow. I really like to think that, Tony, and I'd like to give Dr. Rogers a lot of credit because I definitely want to stay educated and healthy, and knowing that he's putting the time and effort in to make sure of my care, I want to encourage your listeners to put the time to learn and become educated and get to know Dr. Rogers and see if it can help with your health as well.
And there's a really, really easy way to do that. In fact, they've got their own YouTube channel. You can see Dr. Rogers for himself with his staff. It's called The Performance Medicine Show over at the Performance Medicine channel over on YouTube. Also, more information at performancemedicine.net. To our friends in North Knoxville, a brand new location over in Fountain City, now accepting patients. So many ways to reach Dr. Rogers. And like they say, stay educated, stay healthy. Performance Medicine, online, performancemedicine.net. TB here for Cedar Bluff Plumbing, a live and local company that's been serving our area for over 32 years and counting, because every customer counts, and I mean, no job is too small. Cedar Bluff Plumbing just voted #1 by City View magazine because multiple plumbing experts are on call to serve all your plumbing needs. Chances are there'll be a plumber in your area when you call, and they won't send some salesman to your house. You're going to get a high character, trustworthy, highly trained plumber who will serve you. Not like some of these guys that look like they came off the set of America's Most Wanted. Cedar Bluff Plumbing is Basilio tested and approved and will go the extra mile for you because Chucky Mack is a servant of the people and my consigliere to the throne, celebrating over 32 years of serving living volunteers. Cedar Bluff Plumbing. Call 588-4448. That's 588-4448. Cedar Bluff Plumbing.
Attention Vol fans, are you tired of complicated, clunky fleet technology that makes your job harder? Say goodbye to frustration and hello to Connexial, your hometown partner in logistics. It's time to rev up your operations with next level fleet management from Connexial. Connexial is here to keep your business on track with technology that works as hard as you do. Our game-changing ELD gives you more than just hours of service. With AI-powered dash cameras and real-time asset tracking, you'll have eyes on the road, cargo, and your fleet from anywhere, anytime. And the best part, our friendly US-based customer support team is just one phone call away. No more long wait times or frustrating tech talk. Just real people with real solutions. With Connexial, you get a professional team you can trust and easy-to-use products that keep you on the road. What do you say, Tony?
I'm ready. Make the smart move and call Connexial today.
865-888-6920. Learn more at Connexial.com. That's Konexial.com. Drive life with Connexial and go Vols.
Yeehaw! Some people say betting online is still the wild, wild west. But with the VIP Play app, you're riding with the best. VIP Play app is hotter than a $2 pistol packed with flair. Live hosts and features finer than a frog hair. Send your old betting problems out of town with a slap. You'll be betting sharp as a tack on the VIP Play app.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-88-99789. Must be 21 plus and located in Tennessee to bet.
Jeff Hall here. I'm a partner at Rather & Kittrell Capital Management. Life is full of transitions. Planning for retirement, managing investments, or navigating major life changes. Here at Rather & Kittrell, we're here to guide you through every step. Visit rkcapital.com or call 865-218-8400 to start your journey toward financial clarity today. Rather & Kittrell is a registered investment advisor.
Going to be back with you. Everything that can go wrong. Like we were just talking off the air for the baseball team. We were talking, and I love the chat. McKinney's a great story. I think he's a nice player, but he's just so lost right now. Everything that could be out of step for this baseball team's out of step. Matt was just making a point about what happened over the weekend. So, Matt, they pull him out of the lineup, and just a couple things that happened, and then we'll go back to our TLD Logistics phone lines as you jump in with us today. We're going to introduce another topic, but go ahead, Matt. And John Adams at some point is going to join, but his absence today is presented by Jennifer Morris. Next move, SmokyMountains.com. She of Keller Williams. Do like Gold Brick Joe and trust the incomparable, as he called me and said, Tony, man, what a sweet lady. I said, I'm telling you, Jennifer Morris, man, you're in good hands. You're in good hands with her. Matt, just like this team just remains a half step off in everything, if we were playing music with them, they would just be just a tick off. Those of you who have played music know what it feels like to just can't get in the pocket. Talk to me, Matt, about what happened when they decided to go off Chapman over the weekend. Did I lose Matt? I think I lost Matt. There I am. I'm in there with Brian now. Something happened to Matt. Oh, well, we're squirreling around here. So not only, Brian, did we lose, we can't get John Adams, but now we've lost Matt. This is fun, man. You guys are keeping me on my toes here. This is fun, Bri. I feel like the Toronto Maple Leafs last night, Bri. Bri, you want me jump?
Well, let me go find Matt here real quick, and I'll jump in.
You want me jumping back on the Celtics, Bri?
No.
Are you sure?
There he is.
Are you sure?
And never again. I mean, Jaylen Brown will probably get hurt next if you do that. And he'll be out for 2 years.
Let's tease that lineup, Bri. Let's tease that lineup. Next game at Madison Square Garden. Let's do it again, man. Let's go for it. Let's double down on that deal.
Well, bet on the Knicks. Bet like minus 6.5 on the Knicks.
865-200-5402. All right, guys, let's do some totals. And I got to get John Adams in here. At some point, John's just going to join by phone, and that's it. But right now, tech support is trying to get John Adams acclimated. Brian, why isn't John Adams working? He worked last week. It's working for you guys. What's wrong with this guy?
I guess maybe one of the birds he was watching must have done his business on his connection.
You might need to go to that Shreveport dentist office that Todd Walker does the baseball broadcast from. I think they have a great connection.
So many inside jokes flying at me here. Hey, John, get with the program, bro. Should have been connected at 10. We should have done this at 10 minutes before showtime, bro. No offense. Do we just put him in timeout this week, Matt? Is that what we do? Just go on, just keep making him connect for 2 hours?
Yeah, I mean, this is the stuff that we work out in our pre-production meetings. And John said he was skipping it today, so this is kind of the result.
That's my point. Nick Saban ate the same thing for lunch every day to save time because it's of the essence. And Nick Saban told Paul Feinbaum that he didn't want to be a part of some show pony on some president's commission. He said, I know what's wrong with college football. We don't need a commission. Saban's getting to see how Washington works. They're not worried about fixing things in Washington. They're just worried about making commissions, looking like you're doing something. It was like me when I worked with my father at the Mushroom House. Just look busy. Just look busy, man. Don't embarrass me in front of my brothers. That's what he told me. That was my charge. Not get something done. Just, I know you're lazy. Just, act busy. You can do it. All right. Circa Sports has released, and they do these over-unders. These are fun to follow. Win totals for the year. Matt Dixon, I give you a team and a total, and you tell me if you're going to go over or under. Are you ready? And then we'll go to the phones. In fact, let's bring a caller in here. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, Tom, it's Rusty.
Hey, Rusty, welcome in. Hey, Rusty, Alabama 9.5. What are you going?
This is on the 12-game regular season.
12-game regular season only. Yep. No bowl game, no postseason.
Under.
Matt, what do you say? 9.5's Bama's number.
I'll go under. It's hard. Yeah, under.
It's really interesting. Hey, guys. They
have a new quarterback. They don't know who the quarterback is.
Hey, guys.
Or he's unknown.
It's Ty Simpson, and who trusts that?
Hey, guys, it looks like a bloodbath.
Well, yeah.
It looks like a bloodbath, guys, in the league. Texas's is 9.5, Georgia's is 9.5, and Alabama's is 9.5. It's pretty interesting.
Over on the other two.
I don't remember seeing that, Rusty. Do you?
Well, since we're at 16 teams now, and there's two better teams added, I mean, I think that's the reason the numbers are getting lower for your expected win total, I'm guessing. And then you have and we have a lot of good non-conference games, right? I mean, Alabama, Florida State, Texas, Ohio State. So the teams that are, expected to be up at the top, they're playing some quality out of conference high level stuff. I mean, I know Syracuse is Syracuse, but we're playing Syracuse.
That's a great game for us. For where we are right now, it's going to be a very losable football game, no doubt.
I mean, the spread at 12.5, I don't think that's where it should be. I mean, I'm sure the recruiting rankings and the roster quality would tell you that we're far superior to them. But I mean, they've been really good the last couple of years in that conference. And if they had the quarterback back and he got his 8 years of eligibility,
we'd
be in real trouble. We'd be in real trouble.
I'll tell you what, Fran Brown knows what he's doing. But go ahead, Rusty, jump in here.
So, if we can, I know you were going to get into it, but this whole everybody being in an uproar about changing apparel companies or whatever, it's the most silly thing ever to be upset about it. There's no difference in these companies now. Tennessee controls everything. They control the color of the uniform now. Tennessee back before the switch to Nike didn't have control. The company decided how your uniform was going to be made. They decided the color. All that's been changed. Tennessee controls everything. It's just which little logos on your shirt now or on the shoes. Nothing matters now. And they're both the same. It's the people getting upset about this are the same people that used to get in fist fights in middle school about which was better, Ford or Chevy. Like there's any difference in the two. It's nonsense. All that really matters is which company is going to put Tennessee as a priority more and give them more publicity, and which one's going to pay Tennessee more money so we can pay higher dollars in the NIL market. That's all that matters. And I don't care which one it is. Just tell me which one's going to give us more money and going to put us on commercials more so our players get more publicity and it makes us, more visible. That's all that matters.
And that's who the ADs are always going to side with as we talk about the fact that Nike, Tennessee's current company, who knows, but there's something out there that Adidas has come with a strong offer, and our fans are really in an uproar over it, Rusty, and I'm sitting here going, I must not get this because, well, I just don't get it. But I would like to hear people. So you don't think there's a dime's worth of difference between the two companies?
No, there's not. If Adidas is good enough for Lionel Messi, Mohamed Salah, and Patrick Mahomes, and they'll all wear their stuff, I think the stuff's probably made pretty well. Now, did Michael Jordan make Nike and that swoosh super famous back in 1983? 4?
Yep.
Yeah. But that's it. Outside of that, there's no difference in the quality. They're both being made really, really well by a bunch of starving kids in China.
Yes.
And the rest of it's just which you think is sexier as a whatever. And nobody's more GQ than me. I dress to the nines every day. I get it. I want to look good. But there's no difference in the quality. If one company will pay you $50 million for 3 years and the other will pay you 25, one company will treat you like their flagship and one company will treat you like the 10th most important school on their roster, because Oregon's always going to be numero uno, and then Ohio State or Texas or Bama or Michigan or somebody, then it's really just about dollars, because that's what's going to get more kids on campus, because you're going to be able to pay them more dollars to come to campus.
Somebody online was just accusing me. I don't have a dog in the hunt. I don't care what they do, but somebody was accusing me of, well, you're not for the Lady Vols because this Nike thing, and they're trying to keep the Lady Vols down with Nike. I know nothing about what anybody's talking about with that stuff. I know nothing about that. John, do you know, John Adams, who's now in here, is Nike trying to keep the Lady Vols down? As somebody just told me on Twitter. Have you heard that, John? There's a market
why would
movement.
Nike be trying to keep the Lady Vols down?
I don't know. I would love to be educated on this. The things we learn on Twitter, man. Tony, you're for keeping the Lady Vol. That's what they're doing. That's why you're for. I'm not for anything. I don't know anything about this. I'm asking people about it. Why everybody's in such an uproar over it? John,
Tony, real quick. There's something about Nike with their whole corporate structure that they are there's a little bit of anti-women's sports in Nike.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I never knew. See that, John? And thank you, Rusty. I never knew that. And Brian, did you know Rusty was like the fashion plate of the show? Dresses to the nines every day, Brian. It's like the fashion plate, the West Coast fashion plate.
I know just by listening to Rusty talk that he's a fashion plate. He knows his stuff.
Hey, John, the fans are all in an uproar over this Nike or Adidas thing. Apparently, Tennessee's gotten in the mortal words of Will Wade, strong rear-end offer from Adidas, and their fans are like, Danny White put a tweet out, what was something about the golf team yesterday, John, and he just got viscerally attacked by people saying, you better not switch shoe companies. You better not. Don't you dare do that for profit. Hey, John, would you share?
I don't understand why anybody would care. What difference does it make?
They want to be triggered by something all the time. They look for stuff to get mad about.
Eventually, it's part of
a hobby.
Well, excuse me, but eventually, as part of this growing significance of NIL, perhaps every athlete will have his own corporate deal with shoe companies and apparel companies, and the school won't be able to control that. The players will determine what they wear, and everybody will have different shoes.
Boy, the universities aren't going to like that, John.
Well, they'll still wear orange and white at Tennessee, but maybe people. I mean, you see these players now in basketball, they're wearing one colored shoe on one foot, a different color on another shoe. I don't care. I just want to know if their shot goes in.
I don't care either. You know, Matt brought a good point up. In basketball, both sides of basketball, women's and men's, your shoe used to matter. Because these camps would funnel these kids through, through feeder programs. That's out the window now. Matt, you were talking about that before. That doesn't even matter anymore. Like what summer camp you camp at, it's who has the bag, who doesn't have the bag. When the transfer portal opens, I'm jumping. All right, we're going through some win totals here, then we'll go back to the phones. Hey, John, I'm going to give you a win total. You tell me over under. Alabama at circa 9.5 they've opened. Win total for the year, 12-game regular season.
I didn't hear the first part of what you said.
The win total for Alabama, 12-game season. 9.5 is the number.
Under.
Texas, 9.5.
Over.
Matt, where are you on Texas? 9.5. They open with Ohio State, as Rusty was saying.
I think they play at Georgia as well. I'm gonna go over.
By the way, I think it's good for college football that these teams are playing. Basically, it's an NFC, AFC thing. They're doing this now. I think it's a good thing. The SEC and Big Ten need to play each other annually. I told you they're working on a thing. They're trying to get a third party involved. So far, they haven't had success in doing that. But when they bring it to market, people are going to buy those games. It's just the way it is. John, Georgia's win total is 9.5.
I'm not looking at their schedule. Going back to last year, they play Texas, they play Ole Miss, Tennessee. Who's their non-conference game? You know?
I don't know. We'll look at it, though. Hey, John, what do you think LSU's number is? By the way, the 9.5s are top of the mark in the league. They're the 3 with 9.5. Generally, those have been 10, 10.5 in years past. Now, Rusty made a good point. Rusty made a good point, John, in that with a 16-team league, you pick up another swinger. It's because you got some power teams in your league you got to play. These things. Now, Tennessee still has a relatively easy schedule compared to some of these other teams. But eventually, you get a schedule where you're going to get some serious meat, Simpsons meat, on your schedule. I mean, it's just going to happen.
Yeah, I think. Tennessee has an incredibly favorable schedule.
Oh, it's a gift.
It's Tennessee plays the 4 worst teams in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So Arkansas, Mississippi State, Kentucky, and Vanderbilt. Those will be the 4 worst teams in the league.
It's a gift.
So all you have to do, if you win one game out of the other 4, you're 9-3. I mean, I don't consider 9-3 a great season.
I do.
For this team.
For this team, I do. John, now that's a hot take. 9-3 with Joey Football as your quarterback's not a great season?
No, but I just think who do those other teams have at quarterback?
Hey, Matt
Kentucky has Zach Calzada. My gosh.
I wouldn't knock Calzada till you try it. Matt, it's pretty good, especially with extra cheese. Matt, what do you got to say about a 9-3 season? I think that's an excellent job here for this year. 9-3, Matt.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty good. I mean, obviously with Georgia and then road trips to Bama and Florida on the schedule, 9-3 would kind of be winning everything else. So I think that'd be a pretty good year.
John, LSU's win total. Go ahead.
Well, here's one of the things with Florida right now. Everybody's talking up Florida because it had a strong finish.
Yep.
It still has a bad coach. Its quarterback, DJ Lagway, has chronic shoulder problems on his throwing shoulder. What happens if DJ Lagway goes down? How good is Florida?
It could be a problem, John.
Alabama doesn't even know who its quarterback is.
When we come back, the league is crazy this year. And we're going to come back and talk about it. And we got a full bank of calls. Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame, yes or no? Tony Vols in this baseball team to this point, they underachieved? I'm going to ask John that. Matt and I think slightly. I'd say slightly they've underachieved. A friend of mine said, you don't have credibility to talk. I'll talk about anything I want to talk about, but that's not a bad subject to bring up. Nike or Adidas, why are you in a tizzy over this? I'm trying to figure this out. Granted,
I can't get very passionate about that.
Granted, I'm wearing a garment that came from Goodwill. I paid $3 for it, and it says Phillies 2010 MLB playoffs. That's my garment I'm wearing today. I'm just not a big garment guy.
My 4 sports coats in the closet are all from Carm, $9.95 each.
Thank you very little. So John and I are the wrong people to talk about this. Now, Matt Dixon's been known to really go to the nines when he goes out. Brian Hartman, Mark Griffin would be a good guy, Bri, to get on here. Used to rock those leather pants back in the day. I wonder if Marky Boy has a thought on this, Bri. You think he does?
Yeah, I do.
Used to rock those leather pants. John, did you ever see Mark Griffin in his leather pants back in the day?
No, if I had, I probably wouldn't even have noticed.
So we continue with more on the other side. Marky Boy, shout out to you as we continue with more. I want to hear from you. We'll go through Tennessee, Ole Miss, and LSU have the exact same win total. Which of those 3 teams, is going to win more games? Easy for me to say. The great John Adams is finally in the house. He has landed, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks to Laura.
As we continue with more, are you saying no thanks to me, John?
No thanks whatsoever. Well, yeah, thanks to you for marrying Laura.
On the other side after this. Life never stops moving, and between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up, a tire designed for doers, a tire that's going to last, like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire.
Your next opportunity to see your Knoxville Smokies in the brand new Covenant Health Park is this week. And what a week. Great promotions every night, including Thirsty Thursday with half-off drafts, and join Charlie Brown, Snoopy, and the gang on Saturday. Our Sunday day game will be honoring our law enforcement. And don't forget, fireworks every Friday and Saturday night all season long. Get your tickets now at SmokiesBaseball.com.
Knoxville Smokies. Why is it so stuffy in here? Don't tell me the AC's broken again. No matter the season, a broken air conditioner or HVAC system is a nightmare. And with warm weather here to stay, it's more important than ever to keep you and your family comfortable and safe before summer's heat arrives. If you need emergency HVAC repairs, routine preventative maintenance, or want to invest in a new system, then call the trusted HVAC experts at Pipe Wrench Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. This month, get up to a $1,000 discount when you buy and install a new air conditioner or HVAC system. We make it easy with free on-site estimates for replacements and free second opinions on repairs. And if budgets are tight, we offer flexible payment plans including 0% financing with credit approval. Be sure to ask about our 10-plus year warranties that are 2 times longer than industry standards, so you don't spend a cent on unexpected costs in the future. So call Pipe Wrench at 865-264-8090 or book online at pipewrench.com to schedule your appointment today. And as always, same-day service guaranteed, where the visit is free.
Jeff Hall here. I'm a partner at Rather & Kittrell Capital Management. And here at Rather & Kittrell, we understand that life is full of transitions. Since 2000, our team of dedicated certified financial planners has been helping individuals, families, and businesses navigate these changes with confidence. From comprehensive wealth management to tailored retirement plans, we're committed to guiding you toward a secure financial future. Ready to take the next step? Visit rkcapital.com or call us at 865-218-8400 to start your journey today. Rather & Kittrell is a registered investment advisor.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marco Scarza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Are you stuck in a dead-end job or ready for a new challenge? Do you feel like it's time to try a new career? Well, it's time to change lanes with TLD Logistics. My friends at TLD Logistics have some really exciting opportunities for you to learn a new skill. With a new 5-acre driving academy that's now under new leadership with all new course material. And the best part, it's absolutely free. What a great deal to set you on the road to higher pay. And TLD Logistics even offers weekly stipends to offset food and gas expenses. In 6 weeks' time, you could complete this course and be in compliance with FMCSA regulations. Then you're ready for the open road of opportunity. What are you waiting for? It's time to change lanes with TLD Logistics. Visit tldlogistics.com. That's tldlogistics.com. TLD Logistics.
A lime is not always just a lime. You see, some limes are lucky. For when a lime joins the salted rim of a crisp, refreshing Tres Dos Equis, that lime is no longer a mere lime, but a wedge of renowned Mexican limón. Muchas gracias, limón. And also, de nada. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis, imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Hi,
there, Basilio crew. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. If you're thinking about selling your home, I've got good news for you. The East Tennessee and Knoxville areas are projected to have another strong year. I'll be happy to talk with you about the latest and greatest info you need, so give me a call at 865-694-5904 or contact me at nextmovesmokymountains.com. Hope to hear from you soon, and go Vols.
Josh Collins at Collins Insurance Agency. At Collins Insurance, we strive to ensure our customers receive better coverage along with bigger savings. Our community is important to us. We want to provide exceptional service to our customers. Anybody can provide great rates, great coverage, but can you also get great service? And hey, don't just take my word for it.
What's up, everybody? Zakai Ziegler here. My family turns to Collins Insurance Agency for the best service, coverage, and price.
So don't just go online and get some random insurance. Experience the Collins Insurance difference.
Like he said, experience the Collins Insurance difference. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. And hey, their Mama Zizi approved. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. Thank you to Josh Collins and Zizi.
One more thing, Tony. Go Vols!
Preparing food for a big gathering can really take it out of you. That's why you need to call Calhoun's and check out their selection of party platters. Whether you're hosting a party for the big game, a reunion, or just an everyday gathering, a Calhoun's party platter is next level. Choose from Calhoun's always excellent chicken tenders, fly with Calhoun's wings, or boneless wings with a variety of dipping sauces, award-winning next-level melt-in-your-mouth barbecue ribs, or delicious spinach artichoke dip, or get one of each. Plus, if you're doing burgers or sandwiches, Calhoun's has lots of side dishes like spinach Maria, baked cinnamon apples, Smoky Mountain baked beans, or creamy coleslaw. Available in pints, quarts, and gallons. And to finish things off, pick up one of Calhoun's great desserts to go, including homemade cheesecake or key lime pie. Calhoun's, simply your go-to party headquarters. With 9 locations all over East Tennessee, you can order online and just pick it up. Calhoun's, one of the Copper Cellar family of restaurants, along with Chesapeake's, Copper Cellar, Corner 16, Cherokee Grill, and Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good.
WJBE 1040 AM, 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
T to the B, welcoming you back. 865-200-5402. We're going back to our phones here in 1 second. It's the TLD Logistics phone lines. If you want to get in, 865-200-5402. Tennessee tonight, that is an 8 o'clock, easy for me to say, 8 o'clock Eastern start. So late night in Arkansas. All right, John, take the quiz here. Tennessee baseball to this point, have they underachieved in the year?
Yeah, they've underachieved.
Yeah, Matt and I both think they've moderately underachieved.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. You opened the season at 22-0 and you're number 1 in the country. I also think this is a very talented roster. However, that said, things can change dramatically from one weekend to the next. Ask Texas A&M about that, losing to Missouri.
Incredible.
This league is so good. I mean, it's so much better than any other league. It's not even close. I mean, the SEC professes to have the best league in football. I think it does. Basketball certainly now is dominant in basketball, just about put the ACC out of business. But still, baseball is where it really leaves a mark. I mean, so it's almost like you can't go hardly. Can you go 2 weekends in a row without playing a nationally ranked team? I don't know that I guess schedule broke the right way you could. But I just think there's a lot of talent on this roster. And anytime, no matter how things are going in baseball, we see it all the time. You can see it at any level. Teams start hitting. You get a hot pitcher. I'm more concerned about Tennessee's pitching than its hitting, even though it hasn't hit with the power it did last year. But there are, I think, a lot of good hitters on this team. And who knows? You might get into the postseason and Tennessee starts knocking it out of the park. It's got potential in that area. It's got, 8 or 9 guys with at least 10 home runs? I mean, it's still a pretty potent lineup. It hasn't hit good pitching as well as it needed to. But I don't know. I've just seen so many things turn. I always go back, and I've got a very limited knowledge of SEC baseball because I didn't really start following it until Tony Vitello was here. But I go back to that 2022 season when Ole Miss was, I think, number one in preseason, or at least in the top 5. Tennessee went in there to Oxford and just destroyed it in a 3-game series, won all 3, had a horrible season. It barely managed to eke into the NCAA tournament and ends up winning the national championship. So I don't count Tennessee out. I feel like I'm in the middle of filibuster here. Did I talk way too long, I think?
I love every minute of it. Hey, Matt, you made the point that any of these teams that make the tournament are capable of getting to Omaha out of this league, including us, which I'm not sure we are capable of going to Omaha, looking at our ball club, the way we function or don't function. I just don't see us winning a super regional. I just don't see us playing that well over a 3-game stretch to get there. They're going to have to show me something they haven't shown us in the last 6 or 7 weeks. I'm not trying to be a hater. I put the headphone on and call it like I see it. But Matt, I
think they're better suited to win a super regional than regional.
That's
because you've got your ace pitcher who I think is arguably the best pitcher in the country, and that's half of what you need in a super to get through, especially if he pitches the first game. I mean, obviously this team's found a way to lose series after winning game 1, but
yeah,
I think they're actually better suited in a super regional than they will be in a regional, because I don't see this team winning 3 straight games. I mean, I can't even remember the last time they've done that.
I agree with that.
You're probably going to have to come out of a loser's bracket. And this team, for whatever reason, the pitching just hasn't come together and isn't as consistent as it's been in the past.
Backdoor.
I still think, though, Matt, I mean, you point out Doyle. He's when you've got the best pitcher in the country, I'm not saying he's as dominant as Paul Skeens but LSU won a national championship because it had Paul Skeens. And so its overall pitching wasn't considered that great, as I recall. But it had Paul Skeens. And so I think the key for Tennessee and for coaching staff is to find out the most reliable pitching rotation between now and the NCAA tournament. Easier said, I'm sure, but it's not as though there's no potential on the staff. We've seen these guys pitch well at times and look really good at times. But if you could just get consistency there, I would not be surprised at all if Tennessee made it to Omaha.
Shout out to Jim Kelly and Jerry Argovitz and Gerald McNeil, the original Houston Gamblers. In honor of the original Houston Gamblers, John, Pete Rose, Hall of Fame, yes or no? And then we go to the phones.
Maybe I'm getting soft in my old age because I was always vehemently opposed to his being in the Hall of Fame. And I thought it made the right call not allowing that. And my main reason for it is people, I mean, I really liked watching Pete Rose play baseball.
Loved him.
Loved watching the guy play. And he was so popular among fans. He's a great baseball player. I don't think he was a great guy. But that shouldn't have anything to do with the Hall of Fame. However, and other people have done worse things and still been inducted into a Hall of Fame. I just think, though, with Pete Rose, the fact that he was gambling is at the core of sports. And it's so odd now how sports have embraced gambling and welcomed it into its house and said, this is fine. It sponsors all these events now because it's the idea, if people can't believe what they're watching is real, everything becomes pro wrestling. And so it's so important for the good of the game that people believe what they're watching is real and that nobody's betting on it. And I'm not exactly sure what Pete Rose did, but I bet that he bet against his own team at times. And did he bet when he was playing? I don't know. but the guy got into gambling. He was super competitive. And I think what probably happened with him is once he stopped playing, he couldn't get that adrenaline rush that he craved. He was addicted to competition.
That's right.
And so he had to have something going on a game. Just sitting there in the dugout watching his team play, that couldn't have been easy for Pete Rose. So that's a possibility. But that's the problem I have with it. I don't think a lot of people think about that. They just think about one way to look at it. My brother-in-law is a big Pete Rose fan, and he looks at it like, well, he didn't do this when he was playing.
How do you know that?
Well, yeah, see, that's what I wonder about. How do you know that?
I mean, he was, it's kind of like Phil Mickelson. The reason there's a live tour, is because Phil Mickelson was $200 million in debt. Look it up, kids. That's a fact. But anyway, we'll go to our phones. He says Pete can get in. I say never. I'm in the never train.
Well, and excuse me, Tony, but I guess I have to agree with you. But here's the thing. I mean, if you're going to let him in when he was alive. It doesn't matter now. He's gone. I just, so I wouldn't make that. They've already made that decision, but I wouldn't vote him in now at this point. But I'm sure he will be voted in.
He had a lifetime ban from baseball. That's why they didn't let him in when he was alive.
Back to the phones we go. Hello and welcome in. If we're going to let him in, give Brad Bohannon his job back. Hello and welcome into the next call. You're on the air.
Hey, guys. It's Robert from Lexington.
Hey, welcome in, my friend.
All right. I'm going to chime in on this Nike Adidas thing. Pretty passionate opinion about it. I think it's a travesty of a decision, and the main reason essentially evolves around like brand synergy and brand alignment. And just to be very simple about it, I think when you look at the brands that are Nike versus Adidas, I would rather have the small house in the elite neighborhood than the mansion. I 70% of FBS schools are Nike, and I think there's a reason for that. I think they know that there's an appeal to recruits beyond just the logo for their school. And so, I don't think Tennessee's the first school. Allegedly, Adidas is going to money whip them with a huge offer. I don't think that's the first time that's happened. I think it's been turned down. I mean, Michigan went away from Adidas a couple of years ago, basically for the very reason I just described. The recruits were not interested. So that's my.
So do you think, Robert? Do you think ultimately it will hurt us in recruiting if we go to Adidas?
Well, I'm open to the argument that it won't because this is an NIL era, but I don't think it'll go to I don't think interest in the brands will go to 0%. I think if you have a recruit that maybe you're offering them $1 million and somebody else is offering them $1 million, and let's just say they love Nike gear, I think it could be the deciding factor. I mean, I have 2 kids. They play sports. I'll be honest with you. I see more Champion stuff than I do Adidas. But
you don't see any Adidas. Like around kids' athletics, you don't see any Adidas stuff. I hardly ever see Adidas stuff. I agree with that.
So I'll just say that I think I'm open to the argument I'm wrong. I just think it's a risk. And is it a risk worth taking?
Somebody told me the difference would be, and this is like rumored, right? I don't know anything about it, and I do not have any knowledge, but the stuff that they're talking about is like a several $1 million a year difference. Well, several $1 million a year is going to the Haslams and saying, give me $6 more million. Rick Barnes just did that for one basketball player and got $4 more million. So if we're talking about Nike and Nike's preferred by the athletes, you're probably better off leaving money on the table if that's the case, if what you're saying is true.
Right, yeah, 100%. And I'm just reading sources like everyone else. But,
yeah.
I mean, if it's like $5 to $10 million, maybe. If it's $2 to $3 million, it's just not worth it.
Pretty interesting. And I appreciate you chiming in. Anything else for us?
I'm good.
Thank you. So he compares it to, you don't have the biggest house in the nicest neighborhood, but you're living in the nicest neighborhood when you're with Nike. versus Adidas wants to give you a mansion, but you're not going to live in the same place. It's a pretty decent analogy, John, if you stop and think about it, especially if from the athlete's perspective, they grow up wearing and adoring this Nike brand, which Nike does do a great job with their marketing. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I like your analogy. I'm trying to relate it to here in my neighborhood where I'm concerned about a house behind me in that area. It has a tree that's dead. It could fall on my house and kill me.
Yeah.
Got any suggestions on that?
Well, let's take their go look at what their mailbox
Go
number
get a
is.
chainsaw, John.
No, look at what their mailbox
And a ladder.
Look at what their mailbox number is, John. Get the street address and let's shout them out on the air and see if we can do a call for action. But
Boy, that would be smart.
Let's go to the phones. That's called being a good neighbor. Instead of going and knocking on the door, just call them out on the air, man. Maybe tweet about it. Maybe write an article about them with a showing the dead tree. Let's go back to the phones. Yeah,
I'll think about that.
I'm a negative on Pete Rose, and I had a friend of mine say, "Well, that was one of the worst takes you've ever had," and I said, "Well, okay, fine." Look,
I agree with you, though.
Here's the deal.
Hey, Tony. I'll be right back here.
Thank you. Everybody knows in baseball, it says don't gamble. Don't gamble on baseball. They ask you one thing. I compared it to the Garden of Eden yesterday. Just don't eat the fruit. You can do anything you want to do in here. Have at it. It's yours. Made it for you. It's yours. Go for it. Just don't eat the fruit, man. Just don't eat the fruit. That's the only thing you can't do. Pete Rose in his day, you're a multimillionaire. Before that even became a thing. Phillies signed you to a $900,000 contract. The Phillies had to go out and campaign around the city and collect money in order to get him. That's a true story. They even involved their TV partner in it. True story. That's how quaint it was back then. Early days of free agency. Man, the city was so excited to get him. Oh my gosh. Pete Rose, Pete Rose, Pete Rose, Pete Rose, Pete Rose, Pete Rose, Pete Rose. And he delivered. World championship. First one for that franchise in close to 100 years. And I mean, they had some brutal teams. And I'll forever be indebted to the guy, but he's not a Hall of Famer. Because you broke the rule, man. It doesn't say don't do steroids in a locker room. It doesn't. It doesn't say don't do illicit drugs in a locker room. It doesn't. One thing. Back to the phones we go. Hi, welcome in. You're on the TLD Logistics phone lines on a Thursday. The great John Adams is in the house with TGMD Matt Dixon, who did yeoman work today in the blog, previewing today's Arkansas series. Check it out at tclub.team. And let's go back to our phones. Hi, you're on the air.
Hey, Tony, it's Zach in E-Town. What is up?
Hey, Zachy.
Cornucopia of topics. John left. I was going to give him some arboreal advice, but how about this? On Pete Rose,
yep.
Let's keep him out of the good guy Hall of Fame, but put him into the baseball Hall of Fame. Because if we're talking about just being a good guy or being ethical, there's probably a million guys.
But we're not talking about being ethical. We're talking about don't gamble on baseball. That's the one. Like people say, well, Ty Cobb was. No, it's more than that's more than just ethics, and we can't have sports entertainment. You can't bet on something you're involved in. You just cannot do that in professional sports. How do I know what I'm watching is on the level if you're betting on it?
Well, I get your point. It's like with the NBA, people say that it's got an element of pro wrestling in it. I think we saw a little bit of that this week. But 4,256 hits. I don't know. I always thought with Pete Rose, you can't deny that he didn't play all out when he was on the field. Now maybe there was a few years. When I started watching Pete, it was the last years of his career.
Yeah, he was roached.
And he was doing that manager thing.
Yep.
But, in the end...
Guy played till he was like 45, and is the hit king and respected the game. When he played so hard. He respected the game unlike any other. But when you're gambling on it, when you're managing, you are disrespecting the game in a huge way.
Yeah, I love his baseball card. Like around 85, he had one of those baseball cards that had so many years worth of stats that the print was like minuscule.
Yes.
I always loved that because I was a big baseball. Okay, now I'm passionate about this Adidas Nike thing.
Tell me about it. Why are people so tore up over it? Hit it.
Well, it goes back to 1997. I was getting ready to go in. I was getting ready to enter my freshman year, and we signed that deal with Adidas. And some of my greatest memories of Tennessee, and this goes to football specifically, were the uniforms that we wore in the last year of Peyton, our national championship year, and then all the way up until around 2004 or 5. I just thought that they made our football uniforms look amazing. I mean, you see those pictures.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more with that. I don't say that to the kids. I couldn't agree more with what you're saying, man. So
that is one aspect. I mean, the picture of Al Wilson in the like in the '98 season with the or maybe it was Al, or maybe it was Eric Westmoreland with the black shield on the face mask. I mean, that's like, and they did it right. They did the classic orange and with white pants. The basketball uniforms were left a little bit to be desired, but I always thought that it took, in the new era, I always thought it took being a Nike school to attract talent. And now I'm moving to basketball. Like in basketball, these guys want, they want to be able to grab 5 or 6 pairs of Kobe's. And like Florida is a Jordan school. Well, you can get as many Jordans as you want. They make Jordan PEs. And I don't know if that's important to players. That's now that there's NIL, they can go buy their own Jordans and Kobe's and things like that. So I don't know how much that matters to the players. If the money generated to give to them is bigger than what? Does that make sense? Does that track?
It makes total sense. In fact, when you were talking about the late 90s and the Adidas stuff, I'm visualizing exactly what you're talking about. Matt Dixon, does the man have a good point? Those late 90s football jerseys had a special pop to them. It might have been that we were winning, but those iconic photos of Al Wilson and that group in those Adidas jerseys, Matt, the man's got a good point here, Matt Dixon. The man's got a good point.
Yeah, and those are the ones that were made locally, I believe, right?
Yes, I think they were made by Sports Bell.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Yeah, I thought they were good, kind of keeping it simple. And yeah, they really popped. I always think of the orange from the Miracle at South Bend that they wore, how that popped. And I think the orange, the baseball jerseys with the balls across the chest, that's just the perfect shade of orange that I just wish every Tennessee jersey in all sports was that shade. It just popped so well in the sun. But no, it's a good point, because we went through, all the stuff with Adidas in the early 2000s where they're changing everything and making this thin or a thick stripe down the pant, and all this stuff about how the colors never matched from the helmet to the jersey. Like all that stuff was it was just such a bad look right as you're coming into this, the HD TV era.
There was a train wreck, actually, Matt.
Yeah, they had horrible. There, some of those jerseys had yellow on them and orange. So
mustard yellow. Yes.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's what matters or if it's the money from the deal. Like I said, I always thought you had to be a Nike school to make it to the Final Four. But look at Bruce Pearl; they're playing in Under Armour, and they've gone to 2 Final Fours as an Under Armour.
Under Armour, yep.
So maybe that doesn't matter. I don't know. I'm conflicted. I have a nostalgic love for those 90s Vols football uniforms. The basketball, I think, is well served by Nike, especially with being able to get shoes. And I probably have 100 articles of Tennessee gear that's Nike made. I love this dry fit stuff that they make. So So I don't know how much Adidas was sold by like places like the Vol Shop or Alumni Hall.
Yeah.
I feel like they would do better with Nike. I don't know. As long as we don't start wearing British Knights or Kangaroos.
Dude, British Knights back in the day, I drove an hour in 1985 to get British Knights. I drove an hour to get some. An hour. I drove an hour. No, they were British Knights. Ha, 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 ha. Because I saw them on Soul Train. I had to get a pair of them, man.
My blessed mom, she drove an hour from up here in the Tri-Cities to the Knoxville Mall to get me a pair of Jordan 5 grapes. So to me, growing up in the 80s and 90s, getting those Jordans was like gold. So it's really weird, and I don't know what the kids,
right,
if it matters, if the money that the NIL generates, and here, just go buy your shoes that you want. I don't know, but I have an affinity to those Adidas uniforms. I just don't think we would see anything like that. And I do not like gray uniforms.
I
know you probably do.
They're horrendous. The smoky gray.
Okay, great.
Those are the worst things I've ever seen.
Well, there we go.
They're color negative. I mean, let's wear gray. Of course, I'm wearing a gray shirt right now, but thank you, my brother. Good talking to you. Here's the deal. Gray's a whole... That smoky gray thing that they sold you during the Butch Jones era was a lie, straight from the pit of hell. And it smells like smoke. As John Adams is in back in.
Didn't they send Nike reps up to like Cades Cove to get that gray just right? You remember that?
I mean, what a lie! Think about that. What, they go up to the soil? They went up to the soil and dug the soil. Let's match the soil. I mean, how gullible do you have to be?
Do you remember when Butch Jones had that press conference and had players modeling uniforms?
The fashion show.
Good Lord. He should have been fired right then.
Oh, my God.
You talk about a guy that needed his fat face slapped on multiple occasions. Ladies and gentlemen, I got my fat face slapped earlier this week because I had a suggested play over at VIP Play. And Brian Hartman, what was my suggested play this week? Let's see how well this thing has aged. 5 days later, Brian, what was it?
Well, you had the Celtics minus 11.5 points versus the Knicks in Game 4.
I teased it up to 11.5. It was 2-1 money. The Celtics were on their way to doing that. And then for some reason, they took the third quarter off like they've done in every one of these games, except last night. And then they turn around, and not only do they not hit the bet, but Jason Tatum, maybe a franchise-altering injury. Who knows? When you start dealing with Achilles tears and world-class athletes in a sport where you got to be able to jump and run, different bodies are different in the way they respond to that. But needless to say, I was not off to a flying start like my friends at VIP Play are. Now, I've had a bunch of friends in my inner circle who are signing up and they're using the promo code TNTony. Why? Because I don't want these jokers around the state to get a handover on me. And look, you're going to gamble, so go to this great site and do it. It's VIP Play. It's world class. And the great Will Heflin is going to be your guy. He wants to be your man. Roger with Zap. Back in the day, Bino has it. You know what I'm talking about. VIP Play, 200 leagues to wager on. All your favorite types of bets. Look, you've heard the term live now. How about live always? Because they're always ready for you at VIP Play. Always. And then they're always running games and contests and ways to take care of you, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to try harder. They're going to try harder. They're the new sports book in Tennessee that is going to try harder. And now live in Tennessee, ladies and gentlemen. So go claim your VIP Play welcome bonus. You bet $5 or more, get $100 in bonus bets instantly. Insert the promo code TNTony. TNTony. Gambling problem, 800-889-9789, 21 and over. Located in the state of Tennessee. To place a bet. Let me go back to our phones. And I remind you, Will Heflin will be in here. Well, he'll be in here tomorrow for a piece of tomorrow's show. Matt, if you want to come hang with us, come hang after the Arkansas game. Matt and Will have great chemistry on that post-game show. called Garza Law Extra Innings. And I'm kind of enjoying it, Matt. I learned a lot of baseball from you two clowns, believe it or not.
Yeah, it feels like I'm kind of the catcher, but Will's still calling his own pitches. But yeah, we're developing something there. Hopefully we do it for a few more weekends, maybe a month or so.
I agree with that. Let's go a full month.
Hopefully you'll have a series win to talk about. That'd be nice.
Hell, Bri. Last time Tennessee won a series in Arkansas, Matt, was when?
2001.
What's Tony Vols' record against these clowns?
1-9.
Hey, John, there aren't many teams that Tony Vols has a 1-9 record against. You know what I'm saying?
No, and Arkansas where was it? Was Arkansas? Yeah, Arkansas was at home when it swept Texas.
Yes, they were. They've lost one series at home. They are big scuffling, though, right now. Big scuffling. That Arkansas bunch is really, really up against it. If you can get tonight's game somehow. Hey, Matt, leadoff hitter, what's going to happen tonight? Give me the script here.
Go
ahead. Give me the script.
Gavin Keelan grounds out the second.
No, I'm talking their leadoff hitter.
5-pitch walk, and he's on third within 3 pitches.
And John, they're at the very bottom of the league in steals. Tonight, get ready to pad your numbers if you're a Razorback fan listening to me.
I don't know. They might want to save their legs for tomorrow's game.
Hey, Matt, what would you set the steal total to tonight with Phillips going? That poor guy. 4.5, 5?
Yeah, I was thinking 4.5.
Oh, see, I didn't realize he was starting.
He starts
Arkansas
tonight.
has 13 stolen bases in 27 SEC games, and I think they'll probably get at least 5 or 6 this weekend.
Yeah, John, they're going out of order tonight.
Oh, okay.
And the reason for that, Matt, the reason we're going out of order, Matt, is?
Well, it's a 1 day shorter week because you're playing on Thursday and you have Hoover next week, and they really did it for Doyle because he pitched on short rest against Vandy, even though it didn't look like it.
Makes sense.
So they want to kind of give him some extra days, and we'll see what they do for the postseason. I mean, if Doyle will pitch Friday, so if you need him to, he can start your first Friday game in the regional. But I guess it kind of depends on how far they go in Hoover. But
hey, Matt, I just don't get.
I need to give Doyle that extra rest.
For the life of me, I don't understand getting Coons on Sunday. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't understand that. Why you'd want to destabilize yourself and go into your bullpen. If it's last year and you want to go into your bullpen, okay, fine. Coons was going to pitch 6 innings, Matt, if they'd have left him alone.
Yeah, I thought that was a misstep to not ride him a little bit longer. I know why they pulled him, but I mean, even if the guy hits another solo home run off you could still it's probably worth it to go that extra, get another extra 3 to 6 outs with him.
Well,
I agree. I thought they should have rode him. That was the best he's looked in league play.
That was very heartening because he's going to be one of your guys next year. You're going to anchor that thing, maybe. So that was very heartening to see him come around. And these guys got to see a few balls go in here down the stretch. These young kids do. See a few balls go in, as we say in hoops. John, you like how I'm talking like I'm in hoops?
I really don't have an opinion on it. I guess that's not good for a talk show.
John, who wins more games? LSU's 8.5, Ole Miss is 8.5, and Tennessee's 8.5. Rank those in terms of the most likely to get the 9 and eclipse the 8.5.
LSU, easy choice. I think LSU could win the whole thing.
You like his LSU takes, Matt?
I mean, I'm sure he's watched them plenty, so they're really good. I mean, they're number 1 now.
No, I'm talking about football. We're back on football here. 8.5. I'm sorry, guys. 8.5 games in the fall.
No, I thought you meant football. I just think LSU added so much from the portal.
They're going to get smoked at Clemson.
It just killed it in the portal.
They're going to get smoked at Clemson. Smoke job. Week 1, smoke job.
Well, they lose every time
Brian,
they open this
What do you think
season.
he should do for that one?
Do what, Matt?
Asking Brian if you think LSU's getting smoked, what Brian's going to do on VIP play.
Brian, where you going with me? You going to bet with me, Brian? You with me? You going to stand with me or stand against me right now?
I'm going to roll with John Adams and the LSU Tigers.
Yeah. All right, John.
I'll take the points.
Who wins the
with
second?
All that talent.
Who wins the second most amount of games between Ole Miss and Tennessee, in your opinion?
I'd go with Ole Miss.
If we win 9 games, it's an incredible job. That's my stance. So 8.5, I would be inclined to play the under for us if I was playing for money. And
I would say Tennessee would be 8-4
Yeah.
now. I would say that.
Yeah. I mean, you just got to be honest about what we're facing going into the season. With Nico, John, the everybody else that gained better, would Tennessee have been one of the teams with 9.5? Would that have been their number, you think, with Nico? It's an interesting question, isn't it? It's an interesting question. Or would they be in the same spot, basically?
I think the general take on Nico, I know it's popular to bash him now, particularly here, but the general take would be he would get better with more playing reps. His ceiling is still not what I thought it would be after watching him in that bowl game of his freshman season when I thought he was going to be a superstar. Missed on that one. But I do think he would be better. I just think the whole issue with Tennessee, and no matter who the quarterback is, I just don't know about this receiving core. Adam Sparks and I did a podcast, and we were ranking Tennessee by position groups. Is it better now or worse or the same than last year? In the majority position groups, I had Tennessee worse now than it was last year. In virtually every area on offense.
What did Adam have?
We were pretty close. He had I think the difference was you value Adam's opinion more than mine, don't you? We were pretty close. O-line, I think he had the same maybe, or maybe he changed that. But I think O-line concerns me about losing Cooper Mays. I see Tennessee worse in the O-line. Just by a shade, not a big difference. Then at running back worse because I think you've got more depth at running back, and I think you've got a good running back core, but you don't have an SEC Offensive Player of the Year back there.
Hey,
so,
yeah, I want to encourage a living listener. Check out tclub.team today as well because, and this is off the beaten path, but we've got some stuff because he talked about the Mays kid. We've got some stuff on the what's going on behind the scenes with the house case, a few of the golden nuggets that are in there, and how they might impact us in hoops. By the way, Torvik has Tennessee's roster. He ranks Tennessee's roster the best in the Southeastern Conference right now, on paper.
You keep switching sports. You're talking football
now.
Or basketball?
No, we're in basketball. Back to the phones we go. I'm all over the place today because there's a million things to talk about and so little time to get there. And my gosh, I'm just trying to manage my time well. I'm just trying to make the best of this couple hours we get to spend together. Hi, you're on the air.
Harder.
Incredible, Tony.
Welcome in.
Hey, it's Drew. How are you guys doing?
Drew, I need you to. You have like an earpiece on. I cannot hear you.
Classic me. Taking the phone off.
There you go. Go for it, my friend.
Sorry.
That sounds better.
It's
You're
a
my
rookie
man.
Mistake. I apologize.
You're fine, buddy.
If I'm Adidas, especially, so you were talking yesterday about the publicly traded companies.
Yep.
Being able to invest in these programs and not having to show anything for it. If I'm Adidas, I'm going to every single one of these Nike schools, especially schools that are former Adidas schools like the University of Tennessee, and I'm coming together with a plan, and I'm pretty much saying, why would you want to keep shoveling coal into the Oregon Duck machine when we will offer you more money and you can return to the glory days under us?
God, it's not a bad pitch. It's not a bad pitch because Oregon. Here's the thing they're going to do though, and I wrote this in the blog today. See, he's talking about a piece that's in the House settlement that we talk about in the blog today. I hear that many of these collectives or entities similar to collectives are going to be introduced that are going to function as publicly traded companies, and that's how they're going to get around all these rules. Yeah, that's what they're going to do.
But I mean, regardless of how that works out,
yeah,
that's still the pitch from Adidas is
sure
you're directly funneling money into a program that you're competing with for a national title in every sport. What sense does that make? And I don't know. Maybe Adidas uses that as a way to wedge themselves back in. I mean, and if I was Tennessee or especially a Pac-12 or Big Ten program, I would listen to that. A
3,000%. And by the way, the caller that called a couple calls ago regarding the fact that that stuff Tennessee wore in the 90s, that Adidas stuff, that stuff was really pretty.
Oh, I've got I'm 34, so those are my glory days. And the way on the home jerseys, the orange it shimmered. It was more of like a light golden yellowish orange.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the Stormtroopers with the black names, the black outlines, the orange was always a little darker, more like on Syracuse orange.
Philadelphia Flyers almost. That's what it looked like when then Stormtrooper uniform.
It was.
Yeah.
And the thing that made those, and this is just my opinion, and obviously it was kind of outdated because the large numbers and names were for days where there was not HD television, so all the schools had big numbers. But for us, that always, because our designs were so simplistic, that always stuck out to me as something that just made the Tennessee uniform so Tennessee. And regardless of the fact that televisions are just as good or not better than being there today, I would like to see if we return to Adidas going to the large numbers. That just screams football to me. It screams Tennessee football in particular, and it made that orange and white set of uniforms just so incredible,
Hey, Matt, could that make this changeover, if it were to occur, more palpable for fans if they did harken it back to the 90s and tried to design uniforms that kind of looked more retro? Because I think it's the young kids that are really upset about this, Matt, from what I can see on social media, that are really pitching a fit over this deal.
I've got a question on that when he's done.
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would help. I mean, I think if you made the move, most fans would just kind of get in line anyway. But I do think if you could have some kind of tie it back to when Tennessee was an Adidas school before, it might help with at least some of the fans, a generation of fans. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I just think I mean, you're making it for money, but I just don't see what the benefit is unless you just get a lot more money and maybe a higher standing in Adidas than you are with Nike.
Go ahead, Drew.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it. I think what you just said, man. I mean, if they can offer you, I mean, we're not a $40 million NIL school, so if they can help cut that gap by $10 million, $7 million, whatever the number is, to me, it's a no-brainer. I mean, you go to the highest bidder, you do anything that you can to get a competitive edge, and people who have wider feet are going to be much happier because someone with a wider foot. I mean, Adidas.
The wider foot. I haven't heard that in like 30 years. Thank you, Drew. You were skipping out on me there. John, do you remember back in the day when they first did the changeover from Nike to Adidas? Because they've done this so much. I think they've done it like 3 or 4 times in the last 30 years. No offense. But, John, do you remember? Go ahead.
I just don't pay much attention. I just don't care about this.
Okay, tell me if you remember hearing about this in the 90s. Because I've got friends that were on the staff, the training staff, the whole thing. And always have, but you keep tabs with those people because they hear things. At any rate, John, back then, so they're wearing Adidas shoes, okay? What they would do is, a lot of these guys tape their shoes anyway. So they would tape up Nike shoes that first year because the players were all complaining about how the shoes hurt their feet. And they would tape up Nike shoes and put the Adidas logo over them. Did you ever hear of that? Because that did occur.
Yeah, I just don't remember that, Tony.
Matt, have you ever heard of that? And could somebody who was in the inner workings back then, the inner sanctum, could somebody call in and verify that between now and then? Matt, do you remember hearing of that?
Yeah, I do remember hearing that.
That's great.
What year was that, Tony?
Like right back there. I guess they would have switched. They were Nike. It's like Brian was reminding me that when the Miracle in South Bend happened, we were a Nike school. That's correct. I want to say 96, 97 was the original switch. I'd have to go back and look it up. But it was right around that time period. We were getting all kinds of people saying, man, these shoes hurt my feet. And back then, I was kind of a kid, so I would go to like professional wrestling cards with some of the players back then, and they would be like, yeah, man, we're just wearing our old Nike shoes and taping them. And I'm like, well, that's really nice. That's really nice. I wonder if the fans would sure like to know that. But let's go to the phones. I think John's right. I think inevitably a lot of these star players are going to come in with their own deals. The more ridiculous it gets, especially in like basketball. I think that's already happened. Wasn't Cooper Flagg under another deal with I don't know, but there were one of these basketball players was. At any rate, TLD Logistics phone lines, you're on the air. Hi.
Tony B.
I'll tell you what, you stay right there because I got your win total. Chaperone, on the other side of this.
Yes, Sabir on the TLD Logistics hotline. Online at tldlogistics.com.
Hey, it's Grant Kipp, starting pitcher with your Knoxville Smokies. And, it's Thirsty Thursday. Half off draft beers. Probably should come by. Hope to see you tonight at the ballpark.
Knoxville Smokies.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Peace of mind is priceless, especially when it comes to your home safety and your family's comfort. That's why the pros at Pipe Wrench Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling created the Peace of Mind Maintenance Plan. Preventative maintenance for HVAC and plumbing is like changing your vehicle's oil, and experts recommend scheduling regular system checks to keep everything running smoothly. With Peace of Mind, you can safeguard your home from unexpected costly breakdowns and repairs. You'll get tons of benefits, including full system checks on HVAC and plumbing systems, water heater flushes, sewer camera inspection, 10% automatic discount on repairs, priority bookings, no service fees, and much more. Monthly service plans are as low as $20.25 per month, and total annual services are valued at over $1,500. Call Pipe Wrench at 865-264-8090 or book online at pipewrench.com to sign up or schedule your appointment today. And as always, same-day service guaranteed or the visit is free.
Life never stops moving. And between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire. Basilio here for Budget Transmissions. TGMD, the great Matt Dixon, took his Ford Escape to budget, and like our gold bullet back in the day, it was a total mess. And now, Matt's back in the game. He's got a new transmission, axle, wheel bearing, both radiator hoses, engine mounts, coolant hoses. I mean, his Ford Escape was about to escape to the junkyard, but he didn't begrudge it. He took it to Budget, and now he's on his way back to Omaha. Budget Transmissions, over 30 years in business, conveniently located in Bearden. All extended service contracts are honored. A gold certified Repair Pal member. 865-584-4391. 865-584-4391. Budget Transmissions. Don't begrudge it. Take it to Budget.
Hi there, Basilio crew. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. If you're thinking about selling your home, I've got good news for you. The East Tennessee and Knoxville areas are projected to have another strong year. I'll be happy to talk with you about the latest and greatest info you need. So give me a call at 865-694-5904 or contact me at nextmovesmokymountains.com. Hope to hear from you soon, and go Vols.
Tony B here with the great Zakai Ziegler. For
Hey, whoa. Tony, I got this. Hey, Tennessee, it's Easy here. Next time you have an electric issue at your home or business, call my friends at Advent Electric. With offices in Knoxville and Nashville, it's Mama's Easy approved.
You heard it from the most electrifying player in the league. Call the service professionals at Advent Electric, 865-588-0631. Online, adventelectric.com. Tell them ZZ sent you. Achillio here, and you know my friends at Carnes Motor Company started with a dream over a quarter century ago. I met Rob and Brian back when I still had hair, and they were working at a huge dealership in West Knoxville. But they told me back then they wanted to sell cars on their terms, and I wanted to do radio on my terms. Their terms, just like my terms, are ultimately your terms. In both cases, you're the winner. A Car Guru's National Award winner with a 5-star rating on all sites, just like our Vols. Everything about buying a car from Carnes Motor Company is no hassle. They specialize in high-quality pre-owned vehicles between the $5,000 to $25,000 range. And if you need to sell a car, they'll either buy your car or they'll help you sell it. Carnes Motor Company also has a top-notch service department. Therefore, every vehicle is rigorously inspected and serviced prior to delivery. So you're guaranteed to get a quality pre-owned vehicle every time. If you need a place for service, they've got you covered. Come be a part of the Carnes Motor Company family and tell them you heard about it from me. Online at carnesmotor.com. Oak Ridge Highway, 1 mile past the Carnes light. Carnes Motor Company. So we're back with you. We are going to do a TLD Logistics Overdrive overtime. Brian Hartman's not going to be here for it. Tonight's Tennessee game starts at like 8 Eastern time. We will have a full report in the blog tomorrow. We're fired up, focused, and prepared. VIP play Will Heflin will be in the house with us tomorrow. In the meantime, we're going to go back to the phones. We've got a couple minutes left in today's on-air offering. Before we go back to the phones, Florida is going to be the next call leading off. John, Florida's win total is 7.5. What you say on 7.5?
Yeah, I would take under on that. Florida's got a tough schedule. Had a tough schedule last year. And I would be concerned about DJ Lagway's health because of his recurring shoulder issues. But the main thing for Florida is the schedule and the fact that Billy Napier's still the coach.
But other than that, things are great. Matt Dixon?
Yes, they are.
Matt Dixon, what say you on Florida? If you had to make a bet right now on 7.5 as the number, and I forced you to take a stand, where would you go?
I would probably lean under just because of Lagway's, health, and because I think you're really going to be relying on him. And I think they have a pretty tough road schedule this year, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember.
Hey, Brian, I hear fear in the man's voice.
At LSU, but I think they have a tough road schedule in the league. But I would take the under based solely on, Brian, like John said, Napier, and then at Lagway, he's got to play all 12 games for them to go over.
Fear in your voice.
They
Brian.
play at LSU, at Miami, at Texas A&M, at Ole Miss.
Brian, what do we hear in that man's voice when he's getting ready to join us?
Fear in that man's voice.
Brian's not. He wasn't selling. We love you. We appreciate your radio listener. The fun continues at tclub.tv.
WJBE 1040 AM, 99.7 FM. Translator W.
All right, Florida, you ready?
Powell, Knoxville.
Because I got your schedule in front of me right now, big boy. You ready for this? Because I got your schedule in front of me.
Yeah.
You want to read that schedule?
It's TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime, presented by TLD
Because I got
Logistics.
I got your schedule in front of me,
at
Florida.
TLDlogistics.com.
And Brian Hartman said we heard fear in your voice just by that intro on TLD Logistics
And now
Overdrive
let's go to the
Overtime.
guys with today's edition of TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime.
Read it.
John Adams, you have Florida's schedule pulled up there. Because we can go through it game by game, Florida. It is not going to be pretty. I'm going to warn you. It's a nice sunny day outside. We probably ought to not read your schedule. It's a beautiful sunny day outside. I don't want to ruin it for you, man.
Read it, Tony B. I want you to read it.
It's going to feel like it's raining cats and dogs. When we get done, it's going to feel like it's raining cats and dogs on you, man. I'm not here to rain on your pretty sunny day. Well, let's not read the schedule.
Well, you don't have to read the schedule, but I can make you this bet right here, right now.
All right, go ahead. 7.5 is the number. You going over or under?
Our schedule is way harder than y'all's, way tougher than y'all's.
It is.
And I guarantee you, we have more wins than y'all do. How about that? And then here's the thing. I hear fear in y'all heart. John Adams, hey, guess what? Why are you concerned about DJ Lagway, man? Y'all worry more about Florida than anything, because you know what? We're going to bust y'all ass. I'm glad you saved me to last where I didn't have to be cussing on the radio. I'm glad. Now I can say whatever I want to say, because we're on the internet. You can say any damn thing you want. But John Adams, I would like to let you know that the Florida Gators are going to beat the Tennessee Vols 35-14.
I already have that one, in the spirit of Dewey Warren. Hey, John, who does finish with more wins this year, Tennessee or Florida?
I just think Florida's going to have a tough time with the schedule. If Tennessee goes 8-4 and I get Florida at 7-5, yeah, I guess I would go with Tennessee. I would go with Tennessee winning more games.
Matt, are you buying or selling us winning down there? We keep it real in our team.
I'm selling. That's already chalked up. They won't even need Lagway to beat. Harrison Bailey will beat Tennessee if it comes to that.
No, I agree. I mean, I'm not saying Tennessee's going to beat Florida.
Harrison Bailey rolling out there. All right, Florida, here are your games. You ready?
Yeah.
You got LIU. You open the season with LIU. I'm going to give you a win in that one, Florida. LIU, you defeat. Who is LIU? Does anybody know here? What is LIU, Brian?
That's the Long Island Sharks, I think.
It is the Sharkies. That's ironic. Do you think Jim McElwain comes back and throws the quarter out? Flips the coin. All right. You got my boy, der Commissar in town. I'm talking about South Florida and the Commandant, Matt Dixon. Talk to me here. Will the South Florida Bulls have something for them? A game being played. It's a championship reunion weekend presented by GFL Environmental at Benny Hill Griffin Stadium. Matt, does South Florida have enough for them?
Not to win, but that'll be a tough competitive game, just like South Florida's played Alabama close the last 2 years.
Because their commissar in town. All right, Florida, you ready? So you're 2-0 right now. You feeling pretty good about yourself at 2-0, Florida?
No.
No? You should be. You should
I'm not
be.
going to speak until you continue.
You should be. Well, you should. You should be feeling. Hey, Florida, you're at LSU next. Is that a win, a loss, or a draw? Talk to me. At LSU.
Win. You got Brian Kelly that I don't know his ass from a hole in the ground. That's a win.
John, what do you say? John.
I think John's on the floor laughing. I think he's on the floor.
John Adams, what you say to that?
No, how in the world can you say Billy Napier's going to outcoach Brian Kelly?
All right, let's move along. And then you're at Miami, a game being played in Miami Gardens, Florida. I mean, I'm going to have to admit this. You got about a 0% chance of winning that game, brah.
Oh my God! You talking about a 0% chance of winning that, and you got that damn lame ass quarterback that came from Georgia? Are you kidding me, Tony D? All y'all on the same drugs on this side of the panel?
So you're 2-2 now. Then you host Arch Manning. That's going to be quite a scene there. You host Arch Manning. It's the Gators' 60th anniversary and UF Family Weekend presented by UF Health that weekend, Matt. Do you think that's going to be a good game for the Florida Gator fans' health that weekend when they play Texas, the now 2-2 Florida Gators? Matt Dixon, where are you going there?
I would lean Texas in that one.
So now
should be a fun game though. That'd be a fun game to watch.
Yep, you're 2-4 now, Florida. So now we go.
Can I say this before you say that?
Sure.
Arch Manning somewhere hunching the air, thinking he good, and Peyton ain't none of them got no rhythm. But guess what? Can he take a lick like Peyton? When you go to hit Peyton, Peyton gonna fall. But go ahead, I'm gonna let you go.
Did you just say none of those guys have rhythm?
Rhythm, no rhythm at all.
Might be the greatest thing I've ever heard said on here. Texas A&M at College Station, John. How's that going to go for the Florida Gators? Because Texas A&M is only their win total's 8. What do you think, John?
Yeah, I think Texas A&M will run the ball all day long on Florida.
But this isn't going well for you, man. You guys won your first 2, though.
John Adams, bro, I tell you what, man, it's hard to deal with you sometimes, brother. But I'm gonna let you have it.
You're 2-4. Now you host Mississippi State. That's a win. So you're 3-4 right now. We agree? They'll beat Mississippi State, John, yes?
Yes.
Then you take on Georgia. Florida, I don't know how to tell you this, but you're going to get obliterated in that game. That's going to be an obliteration.
Who's Georgia quarterback?
Georgia's quarterback's that little dude that likes to run around.
Yeah, but here's
Gunner
the thing on
Stockton.
that one, Florida. You know, this is Kirby Smart versus Billy Napier. I mean, come on.
Why are y'all y'all not giving Billy Napier the benefit of the doubt?
Now you're 2-6.
Y'all not giving it to him.
Now you're going
Go ahead.
now you're going to Lexington, Kentucky, which has been a house of horrors for you. I don't know how you guys have done this, but you've lost like 5 of 6 to Kentucky. John, did you think that was humanly possible? They could lose 5 of 6 football games to Kentucky, John, in any era.
I think I'm really surprised at that. I think Kentucky was probably lucky in a couple of those games, but I still like Florida to win that game. I think Kentucky's
dreadful.
It's reached its ceiling under Mark Stoops and is headed. They'll be looking for a new coach in a year or so.
Yeah, they're getting ready to find their floor. So I will say that I agree with John. I have your record now, 9 games. I got you 4-5 right now. So now it gets down to nut cutting time. Are you going to get to the 7? Here you go, Florida. You tell me what's going to happen here. You're going to the Rebel Grove, brah. At Ole Miss, high-flying Lane Kiffin. What you got?
Lane Kiffin ain't won nothing big since he moved to Ole Miss. Come on, bro. Y'all keep coming talking. Come on, bro.
What did Ole Miss do against Georgia last year?
What they do against Georgia last year?
And against that lame-ass quarterback that Georgia got, that they squeaked by. They barely squeaked by, bro.
Here's the thing I'm wondering
man,
about.
Watching the same game that I was watching.
Does Lane Kiffin have rhythm?
Lane Kiffin don't have no. All he got to say is get your popcorn ready. That's all he got to say. Then he go out there and get his ass whooped.
Hey, Matt Dixon, in your humble opinion, if this job
that's a revenge game for the Lane train because the Gators knocked them out of the playoffs last year. So that one's going to be circled. You're getting hammered in that one, Florida.
Oh, sorry about that. So
who is Ole Miss quarterback?
So after 10 games, Florida, you have the Gators 10-0 because I'm keeping track of what you're saying. Unfortunately, after 10 games, you now sit at 4-6. So you got 2 more opportunities here. The Tennessee Volunteers come to town, Florida. Before you answer that, one thing about the Vols. Josh Heupel's offense will be back in high gear, and Joey Football will be a household name in college football by that point.
You done lost every good player y'all ever had from last year, and you saying Joey Aguilar has come from UCLA.
That's him.
Your best quarterback y'all had left and went out there for about $900,000 is what they paid him.
Yes.
And now you thinking he gonna come down here and beat us, bro? Are you out of your mind, man?
Well, I'll give you.
Yeah, you gotta be.
Unfortunately, I'm going to give you a win there because I have to have some credibility in this exercise. So I believe you're sitting at 6 wins now. The Florida State Seminoles, John, do they bounce back or are they cash poor? Because they lost a player in the portal here recently to Vanderbilt, for crying out loud, John.
I never thought of Florida State as being cash poor. I think Florida State does bounce back, but it was so low. I don't think it's going to bounce back high enough to beat Florida.
How about that, Florida? You eked out in our little poll here 6 wins. That's pretty good, man.
Well, I tell you what, Tony B, we can't do nothing but bet it. I'm right here. Yeah, we can't do nothing but bet it, man, because you know what?
We'll have
y'all got the easiest schedule. You got the easiest schedule
we do.
in college football.
Well, we have an easy schedule. We have among the easiest. I'm not sure if it's the easiest in college football, but it's up there. I don't apologize for that, by the way, because their commissar is coming to town for you. And if you lose that South Florida game, you might throw up a 4-win season, brah.
Wow. Hey, and let me tell you something about this. Because, I already know we're going to beat y'all, bro. I already know we're going to beat you, Tony.
Oh, so do I.
Yeah, but guess what? What you said about Pete Rose was absolute bullshit. That man, the Major League Baseball has been on that man, riding that man's making NIL money off of him, naming it like off him for years. And then you're going to say he don't deserve to get in the Hall of Fame? Come on, bro. He's supposed to be in the Hall of Fame, Tony B. He's supposed to be in the Hall of Fame, and that's just what it is, bro. They've been doing that man wrong for years, bro, because of a gambling bet that he didn't bet. He betted on the win. How do you take that?
How do you know that? How do you know he never bet against? How do you know he never bet against his team? If you would bet on any game involving your team, how do you know that?
He bet to win. Hey, Ty, how you doing?
Thank you, Florida. I love you. You're my man. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're a clown. Hey, John. We don't know that if you're bet on your team, if you're crazy enough to bet in a game that your team's involved in, how do I know you never bet against your team, John? If you're ultra competitive.
Yeah, I've in every Major League Baseball dugout.
Yep.
There's a sign. You don't bet on your games. I mean, it's pretty simple. And Pete Rose is a manager. He can read. It's right there. Come on.
TLD Logistics, Overdrive, Overtime. It's kind of like Phil Mickelson. These guys are sort of adrenaline junkies is what they are.
Sure.
By the way, Charles Barkley had a great quote on NIL. I don't know if you or Matt saw this. He said, they reached out to me at Auburn. He said, and they want me to give them $1 million or $2 million so we can win some football and basketball games. He goes, that's dumber than hell. Barkley. He goes, I ain't giving my money away for that. He goes, I might give my money away to help some kids graduate. He goes, I ain't giving my damn money away to win some damn basketball games or football games.
Well, it's a kind of a billionaire's game and that NIL stuff. But if I had that kind of money, I'd have a hard time giving it to 18-year-olds to play a sport when all of the needy people out there, wouldn't you? I mean, wouldn't you feel better at night before you go to sleep if you gave that money and you helped a family that was in dire need, that was overwhelmed with medical problems?
It is an interesting psychology. The whole Matt, isn't the whole boosterism thing an interesting psychology around those people?
Yeah, there's a lot that
really
goes into that.
It's really odd. I would love to figure out what makes those people tick, John, because I want to get my portion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But you get my point. There's so many people in dire straits, so many people in financial ruin, so many people just hanging by a thread. You could help them with that kind of money. You could turn their lives around, and you give it to an 18-year-old because he can maybe throw a football or catch a pass or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I would just, if I had that kind of money, people can they have the right to do whatever they want with their money. I really believe that. I mean, they made it the money. They have the money. They can do what they want. But I'm just speaking personally. I couldn't do that. No matter how much I liked a team, a program, and I had that kind of money, I would want to use it to help people who are really needy.
Back to the phones we go, 865-200-5402. And let's get our next call in. Hello and welcome on the TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime. You're on the air.
Hey, what's up, Dr. Josh?
Hey, Wingsy.
How are you guys doing today?
Great, man.
Good. Tony, that was funny just now, man. Florida thought it. Florida's going to win every game this year, you know?
Yeah, he's 12-0.
He's a full sheep.
He's a total gator sheep is what he is, yep.
But I love Florida, though. He's my guy. So, John, what are your thoughts on, since you lived in Louisiana and covered them, what are your thoughts on LSU this year in football?
I think they could win the national championship.
Really?
I think they have that kind of talent. I kind of wonder about Brian Kelly now. I like him a lot better than Billy Napier. We just had this conversation when Florida called. But is he a national championship coach? I kind of based on his track record. He took Notre Dame to the playoffs. They lost to the playoffs in the 2014 playoff, but they had the much inferior team in each case. It wasn't as though they were supposed to win. So I think he's got the coaching ability. You look at his track record, that team is just loaded. I mean, it just took no prisoners in the transfer portal. The last guy it got was an first-team all Big 12 safety at Houston. Had 5 interceptions, 70-something tackles. It's basically recreated its secondary. LSU's biggest concerns were on defense. It's added everywhere. And if Tennessee could have had that kind of success in the portal, even with Joey Aguilar quarterback, whoever's playing quarterback, I think it would have a really good shot of making a playoff with that schedule. If it could have had that kind of success in the portal in all areas. LSU is spending like Texas and Ohio State.
Hey, Matt, you imagine how up his ass those crazy Cajuns are going to be if they lose that Clemson game to start the year again? Because John's right. They spent like drunken sailors in the portal, and those people down there aren't doing this for their health. Those people are hungry to win right now. They're hungry to win right away. And you imagine, Matt, what that's going to be like for him? Because he's getting ready to feel the wrath if they get beat by Clemson.
Yeah, that will not be good. Yeah, he'll be swimming upstream the rest of the year.
And see, John, that's my thing with Kelly. I don't know that he has the mental makeup to do that gig, because he's a guy that likes to have his ring kissed. And down there, they don't kiss your ring for winning 10 games. No, they just don't. That's just not a spot.
No, you're right, and that's the issue I have, Tony. I wonder with this Clemson scheduling deal. I'm surprised they would. I could see a neutral site game. I don't get that. If I were the AD, I don't know if I would be fond of that kind of arrangement where you had to go to Clemson. Tough place to play. I'm not sure. I'm not sold on Clemson yet, though, as being a national championship contender. It may well be, and it did fine last year. But I'm still. I go back to that Georgia-Clemson game last year. Opened the season, Georgia took it apart in the second half. I just think LSU's offense. Brian Kelly's supposed to be an offensive guy. LSU's offense is so deep in receiver, and I really like Garrett Nussmeier. And it's also LSU's really good at tight end. I mean, Nussmeier has all the weapons in the world. That guy can really fling it.
Could be a potential Heisman candidate too.
Well, yeah, he could put up the stats. Yeah, certainly. With that kind of supporting cast. So I know everybody's kind of talking about Texas with Arch Manning, but I think LSU's right in there with Texas when I look at it in preseason in terms of talent, which I think it's fair to question Brian Kelly. Even though he's won wherever he's been, he's had great success, took 2 Notre Dame teams to the playoffs. He hasn't done what people thought he would do at LSU. And you're right, Tony. How will he handle the criticism? Because LSU's lost these opening games.
They're going to
crush
crush
him.
him.
It lost to Southern Cal. It lost to Florida State. It turns around and loses at Clemson.
They're going to crush him this year. And I agree with Matt. I think it will follow them. Go ahead, Josh.
Have they lost every opening game since he's been there at LSU, Tony?
I don't know if every game, but John, when they play these signature games early in the year, it feels like they're losing all of them, aren't they?
Neutral site games.
Yeah.
They've lost all the signature games.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's really strange.
And remember the Florida State game?
Oh, it was a great game.
So close. And Southern Cal.
Great game.
At the time, I didn't think Southern Cal was a bad loss. I thought Southern Cal would be very good that last
they went
year.
Cratered.
Totally wrong on that.
Yeah, they cratered.
Mediocre
That's right.
team.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, Tony, so is it pretty much, I know it's not set in stone yet, but does it look like we're pretty much going to go to Adidas?
Oh, I know nothing about that. I just know people are talking about it, and so I decided to take a poll and wanted to bring it up on the show. And I saw people, I had a couple of texting people last night all tore up, and somebody sent me a tweet Danny White put out about the golf team, and they were just viscerally attacking him. And I'm like, why? Wow. What is is Nike that important to you, Josh?
No. I mean, I like their apparel and stuff, but I'm not going to go really, really crazy about it. Like, go after Danny White and stuff.
Yeah, people are like really, really, really going after this guy, and I'm going, why? I don't get it.
Well, here's another way to look at it. If you get a few million more dollars, maybe that's a 5-star transfer you can add.
Or you fund your whole women's basketball program with it. Because apparently Nike's against women's basketball. Who knew?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Hey, Tony, out the door, what would you say the most embarrassing thing was when Butch was here? Do you think it was either the spring game when they did that circle,
the reenactment,
life, whatever it was called, or the Champions of Life? I'll hang up and listen.
There are so many things. Matt, on a slow day this year, we really ought to we got to do a Butch Jones show because they always make me laugh. What was the other one, Matt?
Yeah.
In honor of...
Do it when I'm on. Do it when on a Thursday.
You want to do that, John?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. What about, in honor of Nico's dad, some crazy parent stories at sporting events?
Some crazy what?
Parents stories. Like people getting in fist fights at Little League games in honor of Nico's nutty father. And do like a Nico's Nutty Father Day on the air in honor of Big Nick.
You could do that on Friday before Father's Day.
What about Thursday? You wouldn't want to hear some people tell some stories about... I mean, I could tell you a first-hand story of what I saw. Adam Sparks has written an article explaining why Tennessee Athletics could switch from Nike to Adidas. So Adam Sparks has chimed in now, John. Back to the phones we go.
I saw Adam's story. Very, very well done, as always.
Anything? Any revelations in it? Why does he say it could happen, John?
I was reading it very fast.
Back to the phones we go. Hello and welcome.
I was on your show.
Hello and welcome into our next call. You're live on TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime. Hi.
Hey guys, Dave.
Hey Dave, welcome in.
If we go 7-5 and God forbid 6-6.
Yep.
Do you think that this Heupel's philosophy is going to change in the portal?
Matt?
Well, sure.
That's a great
I would
question.
hope so.
I think that Josh Heupel, if he goes 6-6, if that's right, what you're saying, or even at 7-5, I think he comes into next season needing to win big time. So yeah, I would say, because I think people are going to start going, look at the amount of money this dude's making. It's what all fan bases do. And by the way, fans forget very quickly, especially if his offense struggles this year. There's going to be a real move afoot. But Joey football is going to save the day, though, in my humble opinion.
Well, I get into it with a buddy of mine. He goes, "Well, do you want to go back to?" Well, he's younger, but I'm older, so I remember when this team through the '90s. I mean, the ceiling to me, the ceiling's winning national championship always.
Yes.
And my buddy's going, "Well, you know, I don't want to go back to those other days. I'm okay with 8-4. I'd rather win 8-4." I'm going, well, that's not acceptable. I told him, we're not paying this coach $10 million a year to go 8-4.
Yeah, this guy makes $10 million a year, which is kind of incredible. I mean, he's paid near the top of the sport. You're right.
It's just the way it is what it is, and he's gonna. If that happens, but is he capable, Tony, of changing his philosophy?
Well, you asked two questions.
I think he will.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
we've seen it. I mean, we were talking about LSU earlier with Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly's initial plan when he came to LSU, he knew he would have a really good recruiting base in Louisiana. Everybody recruits well there. But he thought he would supplement it and fill positions of need with transfers. Then he has a few 4-loss seasons, and he looks at it a lot differently. He went into the portal this year with the mindset, apparently, I can't read his mind, but he went into the portal thinking, if I can get a better player at this position or that position or whatever, any position, I'm going to get him.
You know, Matt, if Tennessee's baseball team continues to kind of sputter here down the stretch, I wonder if Tony Vitello takes a similar tact when it comes to the portal and gets a little hungrier with the portal. What do you think?
They went pretty big in the portal this year. I mean, they're, your ace pitcher, your top home run guy, your leadoff hitter. I think you can pick and choose, and they're in a much different spot than Heupel is, because I think Vitello's program's at the top of the sport, and viewed that way by recruits. So I think it's a very valid question about Heupel, about can you elevate the team to being that championship playoff caliber, on a yearly basis, because that's ultimately our goal, and it does seem like we're trending more to being that 8-4 type team.
Do you think in this past season, did Josh Heupel gain credibility because he got Tennessee into the playoff? But was it kind of balanced out in a negative way because it got blown out by Ohio State? Do you think people gained more confidence in Heupel over last season, or lost a little confidence in him because of how Tennessee was manhandled against Ohio State?
And then, like Dave's saying, they were just completely absent in the portal, which is just, I don't want to belabor anything here, but that is one of the strangest, that offseason that they just went through is one of the strangest off seasons you'll ever see a team that went to the playoffs go through. It can't get any weirder than that.
I mean, Tony, I don't think people realize how inexperienced we are on the offensive side of the ball.
Yes.
I mean, it is, like I said, we have 5 upperclassmen in our 2 deep on offense. And that's including Joey Football and Kisselman, who may not be ready to go at the beginning of the year.
Yep, with the pec injury. Yep.
Are you talking about those? Are you including the offensive lineman they got from Notre Dame, Pendleton, and then Wendell Moy that they got from, I guess it was Arizona? Are you including them among your? I mean, those are experienced players.
Yeah, I'm including the kid from Arizona. I did not include the kid from Notre Dame because he's only a redshirt sophomore.
Okay. Well, I thought the Arizona transfer, I thought that was really significant. You've got you got a problem at those positions. You've lost a couple of players in the interior of the offensive line, most of your offensive line, except for Lance Hurd. You've lost everybody. But I thought Wendell Moy this guy was a second-team All-Pac-12 guy. So I see him as one of their better players on offense. And it seems that, if I remember this right, they got him fairly early on in the portal. And I thought that was a really good start. And then after that, there just wasn't a whole lot of action.
I mean, John, we're going to start a true freshman at one tackle spot, and then another guy that didn't have a great year last year at the other tackle spot. And now they're both five-star kids, but whenever you start a true freshman on your offensive line, I don't care. There's always growing pains.
Oh, yeah. And I think, though, here's another way to look at that, though. Lance Hurd, who started last year, in the first half of the season as an LSU transfer, a five-star, he kind of looked like a total bust. But he'd had injuries in the offseason he had to deal with. He got better as the season went along. But on his best day, he was average. And you look over on the other side with John Campbell, he was subpar. I'm being kind, saying subpar.
Rough watch.
So Lance Hurd should be better this year than he was last year. And I don't know if David Sanders is as good as everybody says he is, and I know he's just a freshman, and I understand the perils of having a freshman offensive lineman, but how much worse could he be than what Tennessee had last year at that position?
That's true.
Yeah, you're exactly right, John.
The fact that this quarterback's going to have only 3 months, and then I don't think Mark Langer's, I think he's serviceable. I think he's a guy that if he wants to be a quality starter somewhere, he would have to transfer down. That's just my opinion. He may turn out to be great. I don't know.
Dave, do you have a vote on the Nike Adidas thing? You seem to be a fashion plate type, a fashionable guy.
Well, heck, Tony, I remember when Tennessee football wore Sports Bell jerseys. You remember those days?
I love the Sports Bell. Are you kidding me? The mesh Sports Bell. I've got one in the other room.
We used to wear that, and then some schools used to wear Champion.
Love Champion. Yep. You're the man, Dave. You're the man. And Matt, is that surprising that Dave is not a fashionista? Are you surprised by that?
No, he only cares about winning championships.
And being a bright light on this program. Dave, I call you a bright light when you come on here.
I don't think he was negative in that call.
He wasn't exactly positive.
I thought he was very realistic, though. You've been talking about this a lot, about concerns about Tennessee in the portal.
I'm concerned. I'm concerned. I'm concerned with just the juice of the whole deal.
Well, the glaring issue was wide receiver. There were so many wide receivers with proven track records in the portal.
I hope these guys are right, man. I hope these guys explode this year. I really do. Because if they don't, it's, you're making big money. These people are going to be all over this head coach if they don't explode at that position and show some real talent and promise. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air. TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime. Hi.
Hey, what's going on, Tone? Who's your ball right?
There he is, my man. Cardinals, you told me the Cardinals sucked this year. They beat us 2 out of 3 and put a 14-7 spot on the after we were up 7-2 last night. You beat us 14-7.
I don't think I told you the Cardinals suck.
You gave me a thing. You said that they're selling and they don't have any players and the organization's bad.
That's negative. He's the Cardinal guy. I don't like baseball.
I'm sorry. Negative.
Yeah, we're blending colors here. I would say Negative would have said the Big Red Machine was just okay preseason. So take that last call with a grain of salt.
He is a clown.
I'm not a baseball guy, and I'm glad I called in because you guys are. But I am from the Rust Belt and grew up close to Cincinnati on the Indiana line. And Pete Rose can do no wrong in spite of his many flaws in that part of the country. Maybe I'm just not seeing it, but what's the big deal? If he bet on his team, then it didn't affect the game. And let's say he bet against the Reds 5 times. First off, that's 5 times, and he was a part of 2,000-some-odd baseball games. Let's say, no offense, Bino, but I do know the history of baseball that Mickey Mantle and Babe Ruth might have played drunk or really hungover 5 times in their career. Wouldn't that affect the game more than a manager betting against the Reds? And no one thinks they should be out of the Hall of Fame.
John, what do you say to that? That's an interesting point. John, what do you say to that?
I go back to what I said earlier. This is how seriously sports takes the gambling issue. That it's posted in every major league dugout. You don't bet on your sport. You don't do it. It's right there for everybody to see. Because once you're betting, fans can't be sure if what they're watching is real. We don't know if, that sounds like if you're a gambling addict, you really think you wouldn't, and I'm not saying he was, but there's that possibility that he wouldn't, if he's losing money, he wouldn't bet against his team sometimes.
But
I just don't see how you can say that.
But hypothetically, here's my question. Is it real? You got to know what you're looking at as real as a fan sitting in the stands. If Babe Ruth had a whole bunch too many the night before and goes out there and plays, is it a real game then?
Well, because Babe Ruth, but he wasn't trying to alter the outcome of a game in a negative way.
He did.
And also keep in mind that Babe Ruth could probably have hit a couple of home runs in a drunken stupor.
Hey, John, early 70s.
But they're not as good. Just saying.
Who's in the early 70s? Who was the pitcher? Was it Doc Medich that pitched on LSD?
It was Doc Ellis for the Cards.
Thank you. There is a great, Ryan, even though you're not a baseball fan, I
do appreciate the history.
Okay, there's a great documentary that you can find on Netflix on that, where he describes and people involved in the game describe, and he describes like the colors and what was going through his mind. And you want to talk about a crazy sports story?
Yeah.
How did he not?
And I was a Pirates fan too. Doc Ellis. I remember him pitching in an all-star game, and I may have this wrong, but it seems like they were knocking the ball all over the place against him.
He's probably on some bad stuff. Hey, back in those days, John, there's no telling how many drugs, greenies, amphetamines. That was back in the days when they used to have the three coffee pots in those major league clubhouses. They had regular and decaf, and then the third one had the really high test stuff in it with the amphetamines.
Well, I think part of it's skewed by where I'm from, because I think a lot of people agree with y'all. I was listening to something on YouTube last night.
Yeah.
And what they were saying was, I think it was, Carl Ravitch or somebody on SportsCenter, that I have always assumed that once Pete gets the green light to be eligible, it's knee-jerk, he's in. But I think a lot of people are saying that it's a line you don't cross. And I guess I just don't get that, because especially we're constantly hawking gambling right now.
Yes.
But don't bet on the game. But it's like, no offense, even if he bet 5 games in June, in the dog days of June, I know you're not supposed to say this, baseball has way too many games and it's kind of boring. So what? I don't see how that affects it any more than Mickey Mantle having way too many in some of his legendary nights on the town and stumbling in there and being half drunk playing for the Yankees.
No, you bring up, I mean, it is an interesting point, but and I appreciate the call, Ryan. It comes down to intent.
Exactly. That's the word.
Intent is the word. You can't look, your personal habits and whether or not you got a good night's sleep the night before. I mean, a lot of us don't sleep. Okay, fine. There are some people that can show up drunk to work and do a great job. Mickey Mantle says he called his thing the Breakfast of Champions. He would get up in the morning when he was playing and drink like a screwdriver in the morning. If you read some of his stuff that he wrote about himself. So, but that to me is a far cry from I'm managing a group of guys and I'm betting on the outcome of this game. Because I'm with John.
Yeah.
That just, can't cross that line.
Like he just said, Ryan said, it's crossing a line.
Yep.
I mean, and I do have it's a lot of hypocrisy going on now that sports have welcomed betting services into their building.
Yep.
And made them seem like I mean, you got, everybody's promoting these gambling sites and all.
Yep.
And for them, I go back, I can remember decades ago, Joe Namath in tears on the cover of Sports Illustrated because he got suspended for being a part of a restaurant where there were nefarious guys in there, like mafia types.
Yep.
Just associating with people. And to think Pete Rozelle, if he came back to life today, he couldn't comprehend what was going on. He would be totally baffled. How could this have come to pass that now you've welcomed the gambling industry into your industry? Because back then, it just wasn't, anytime that came up, betting in sports, that was the sin. You just can't have that.
Yep.
And every now and then it comes up. But now we're in such a different world where everybody's got their cell phone there. And I don't doubt that players are betting on their own games in college football.
Oh, John. That's the problem. And nobody wants to talk about that. I guarantee you, night in and night out, there are thousands of these people in college basketball that are betting on games. Or people close to these people involved with this thing. And how do you stop it? How do we stop it? Well, when I catch you, I got to make an example of you. I can't put you in a Hall of Fame if you're Pete Rose. That's one way I stop it is I make an example of you. And if it's an example for time and eternity, then so be it. It's an example for time and eternity. Well, Tony, the guy's dead. Okay. He's not going in the Hall of Fame. I mean, I'm sorry. I didn't do it. That's my take. Great player. Does he belong in the Hall of Fame as a player? Are you kidding me? He's an all-time great.
And why he's so beloved, despite his flaws, as Ryan pointed out, not just by people in the Cincinnati area. I remember going to a game in Crosley Field back in Pete Rose's rookie season. And he made an impression on me even then. He was the way he played the game. There's so many, people hate seeing a guy not run out a ground ball or a guy just kind of loafing in the field. And maybe we see more of that now. And you have a player who, with Boston now, Rafael Devers, doesn't want to switch positions. Well, Pete Rose was the antithesis of that. What all positions did he play?
Everything.
He played second, third. I think he played some first and maybe some outfield.
He played first for the Sillies at the end of his career, and he gladly did it because Mike Schmidt was our third baseman. He played the outfield. He made that one. He was in left field that one night in County Stadium in Milwaukee when he did that. He made a routine catch in the All-Star game and did a front flip catching the ball. He was a total hot dog, is what he was. That's how he played.
And one thing he never did, he didn't cheat the fans.
Oh,
who
no,
were
no,
paying
no.
for a ticket to watch him play.
Oh, no, no.
He never did that.
There was no load management with Pete Rose like these NBA players. You're exactly right.
Yeah, and so that makes it sad to me.
It's very
that he
sad.
did that. Yeah. But he was like kind of Mr. Baseball. So how could Mr. Baseball bet on the sport? I mean,
he's a tragic figure, man.
Yeah,
he is a
he
tragic
really is.
figure. And Matt, do we win tonight? Talk to me here.
I wouldn't bet on it. But I mean, seriously, I until Tennessee starts playing well, it's hard to pick them to win any SEC road game, but especially at Arkansas, and especially when Liam Dill is not pitching.
Will Heflin the other day signed off from the from Garza Law Extra Innings. I don't know if I'm having an impact on him, but John, he goes, listen, I'll be here next week talking about this Arkansas series, but until the postseason, I'm out on these guys. Good night. Have a great day. I was like, damn. Because it is frustrating. Watching a baseball team scuffle around, it might be the most frustrating sport to watch when it's not going well for you. Because there's a million things to point to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's the thing. There's no one area, no one player. You can just single out so many different things. All that, despite all of Tennessee's problems, let's say he loses all 3 games at Arkansas. What's its record in the SEC? Isn't it 15-15?
Yes.
Yeah, 15-15.
Okay. So you're 15-15 in the toughest league in the country, and you won every one of your non-conference games. I mean, I just, when I start talking about hosting a regional site, do you really think there's many teams that deserve it more than Tennessee does?
No, but they got to spread the wealth around. Let's go back to the phones and get our next call in. Hello and welcome. Let's try this again. Hi, welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, Tony B.
Hey, Richard, welcome in, man.
Oh, man, good to talk to you again.
Great to talk to you, my man.
Yep. Just outrunning, man. It's been an interesting year so far. Just in our business because of all the tariffs and stuff, man. It's been an interesting last couple of months in our business world. So, but always good to be able to talk sports because it always takes my mind off all the other stuff going on business wise. So, hey, real quick. Maybe I can offer something, on you're talking the Nike Adidas thing. Well, Tony, all the years that I coached and worked and volunteered over in football from the junior high level through the high school levels over at Blackman and all that type stuff, there is no doubt that the number one appeal of just wearing these kids wearing whatever shirt they were going to wear or sneakers or anything else, it was Nike. Nike was always the number one worn apparel by every high school and middle school kid that I saw. It would always have the biggest attraction, and I'm going to say a lot of it, again, has to go back to the advertisement, again, in the Michael Jordan years. It just blew up and made Nike the king of apparel. Now, saying that, when it comes down to, though, picking college, and especially now, there's always been one thing that's trumped more than anything. One, the school, but most importantly, the money. Even before NIL, the most important thing in getting kids to your school and the big-time players has always been, what goods are you offering me? Is it money? Is it cash under the table? Is it a vehicle or whatever? That's always been the number one thing, followed by the school and then the apparel. So moving to Adidas or whatever, I don't think it's going to cost Tennessee any kids in recruiting whatsoever. If it's about money, because that's what sports and college level's always been about and always will be about is at the end how much you're benefiting financially.
Yeah, we don't want to hear that, but this kerfluffle online over this and the visceral going after the athletic director that some people are doing, I just don't, for the life of me, understand why we're having this reaction. Do you, Richard?
Oh no, absolutely not. Like I said, it's the kids are not going to play at any school because of if the swoosh is on there or Adidas is on there or Under Armour is on there. If it came to me and I was wanting to pick a shoe company, I'd go with New Balance because they make the best fitting shoes of any of the tennis shoe companies. But yeah, I mean, it's not. The more money in the coffers, the better. These schools are trying to make up for all the money they know that they're going to start paying here pretty soon into all these student athletes and what's happening. So it ain't going to make a difference again. It's only thing that makes a difference are my checks being cash, at the bank and what else you're there to offer. Quick story, because I'll let it go back. I have a good friend I used to work with many years ago, back in the early '90s, late '80s. Played for University of Tennessee. He was an offensive lineman, a state Tennessee kid. I won't mention his name. Big time player. He told me a story about his visit to Alabama and to Bear Bryant and them when he was down there on the recruiting trip. And at the end of the recruiting trip, the coaches left him with one of their handlers. And basically they were riding through a parking lot, and they came into the parking lot, and there was this amazing car that was sitting there. And so I think it was Camaro. I forget exactly what the vehicle was, but it was a very expensive car for back then, and a muscle car. And he was talking, but boy, I really like that car. And basically it was, well, we can kind of make things like that come to you if you sign here and play at the University of Alabama. And he told me that story. He didn't go to Alabama. He played at UT. But, again, going all the way back to then, guys, this money, what are you giving me? That has always been one of the main leading things of recruiting, man, is what are you giving these kids and how much are they making, especially the big-time players. And that's the way it's always going to be.
So, Richard, what kind of car do you think Tennessee gave him?
Now, he didn't tell me that.
I bet he didn't.
Hey, those guys back in the day never kissed and told. Isn't that interesting? No. I've never had a player, John, tell me they all would say, boy, I don't know, on the team, I never saw anything, but I know some guys, I'm sitting there going, come on now.
Yeah. Well, hey,
I didn't get anything. All the people I talk to say, I didn't get anything. I'm like, come on, man, you were an All-American coming out of high school. I'm not that stupid.
Hey, maybe next time we'll talk about because I went to high school with all the Gaines brothers and stuff.
Yeah.
From Old Hickory and DuPont, and some interesting stories when Greg played at Tennessee and Johnny Majors and stuff. Won't say anything on the phone, but yeah, some interesting stories of back then and just how I'm going to say how liberal it was back then. Just not just getting paid, but just John, you used to, as long as you wrote sports, you remember the old days in the circuits, how all the coaches used to get together and they would have like bourbon parties and stuff and just chat it up?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so there's a lot, it's just so much that went on back then that's completely different now, and you couldn't do stuff like that.
Well,
in today's world, but.
Yeah, Richard, you bring up a really good point, which is this. People that worked in the sports world, like John back in the 70s and 80s, you didn't report everything you saw. Like, you were a lot more welcome into the deal than the media is these days. It was a completely different age. Right, John? You just didn't. You just
well, I mean, but yeah, if I knew somebody cheating and I could write it, prove it, yeah, I would have written it. I mean, I think it was more so I kind of came in in the later 70s, mid to later 70s, when things were kind of changing and how you covered teams and off the field stuff became more significant because the group of writers before me, I mean, they actually hung out with coaches. I never did that, but they did in some cases. I mean, I've heard a lot of stories about Bear Bryant and guys like Johnny Vaught. Mm-hmm. And also what was really interesting back then, and I heard these stories from writers who had experienced it and who had lived through it and worked through it, was more camaraderie among the coaches. Because remember back then, coaches weren't making $10 million a year. And I saw that when I first went to the SEC spring meetings in the late 70s. That there would be a hospitality room open to the media and the coaches. And I can still remember very vividly these coaches. They were competitors in the fall, football coaches, but they'd be there. Johnny Majors would hang out there in that hospitality room as long as anybody. They'd be playing cards with each other. You just don't see now. The spring meetings are coming up in Memorial Day after that week, Memorial Day week. You don't see that camaraderie anymore. Guys don't even stay there. The coaches would stay for like the whole 3-day event. Now coaches are in and out as fast as they can do it. They go to meetings, they fly back out. It's just a completely different world. But yeah, particularly in the generation of writers before me, the teams were covered differently. That's true.
Hey, Matt, could you imagine the spring meetings now, how these guys are looking at each other like, hey, you bastard, you stole this guy off my roster. You tampered with my team. You know that goes on. You know those guys are looking at each other saying that, you throat cutter. Completely different age that we're in right now. And then the whole thing with the media, I've had people tell me, John, that in sports, that just when Watergate changed, like when you quit believing in everything in the mid-'70s coming out of the crazy 60s, I think it'd be a great sports book to be written about how back in those days you just covered for these people. You saw what you saw and you covered for it. And these days you're out looking for it. People are out looking for the dirt these days. It's an interesting time.
I think, too, when you go back, I remember Jerry Dooley's first year here in the spring football game. He had celebrity coaches, media types, and I was coaching one of the teams.
Yep.
And, I mean, it was kind of, I wasn't actually calling plays or anything, but it was like being a token coach. But what I did is I was in, before the game, I was in the locker room with my, quote, team, and I gave a pep talk, that kind of thing. I really felt uncomfortable doing that. I didn't even think about it going in, like this is just a lark. It's a spring game. Nobody cares. Because I kind of look at it as a locker room is a sacred place for athletes. I wouldn't be in a locker room. Oh, it used to be you'd be in there after a game.
Yeah.
You'd have post-game interviews in a locker room. But I mean, before the game, it just didn't seem right. I remember talking to Jim Chaney, who was the real coach of the team I had. He was Tennessee's offensive coordinator under Dooley. And I said, well, what should I say to him? And he said, oh, it doesn't matter what you say, because they're going to be frothing at the mouth. They're going to be ready to go eat some brains. They won't hear anything you say. I thought that was amusing. But, yeah, I didn't even feel comfortable in that environment.
Makes total sense to me. I mean, that makes complete sense to me. And I've always thought of that, too, the fact that locker rooms, it's a different deal. Let's finish up with one more. Hello, welcome in. It's TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime. Hi.
Hello.
Hey, welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, this is Tim from Chattanooga. Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Thank you, Tim.
I want to follow up on something you and John were talking about earlier. And as far as Josh Heupel is concerned, do you guys really think that he has moved the needle that much in terms of recruiting high school kids since he's been at Tennessee?
Has he moved the needle since he's been at Tennessee?
Relative to the coaches that preceded him, I don't think he has. We're still finishing in the middle of the pack in the SEC as far as recruiting goes.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, when you look at the rankings, like I was looking, because I had somebody tell me that I missed the point on why they didn't get more active in the portal. They spent a lot of their resources on the high school class, and my reply was, and maybe I'm a smart ass in saying this, But
doesn't everybody?
Well, if I spent that money on my high school class, I should finish more than 8th in the SEC. Was my reply. That's all. And I'm concerned about his tenure going forward. I'm concerned about where the program is heading, and look, he's done a really nice job on the field. I would hate to see him run out of players here. It would really stink, because if you run out of players, you will not win in this league. I don't care how good you are scheming. I don't care how good your offense is. I don't care how good your defense is. You run out of players, you will not win.
No, it's baffling why they didn't go into the portal and hit it harder. But the second thing I'd like to talk about is the quarterback position. And I don't understand why we put all the money and resources in getting a high school kid. It seems like we would be better off to get a 2-year guy and put, say go for a guy in the winter portal season, bring a guy in as a junior instead of going. I mean, this guy from North Carolina is supposed to be the next big thing, but I don't know. I think he'd be better served getting a guy with experience.
You make a really valid point, because I thought I wrote a column a while back about what if you just went on a 1-year plan in December portal. If you got a 2-year guy, you still got to worry about losing him. You get a 1-year guy, you don't have to worry about losing him. You just go out and you get a guy each December. You budget and say, we're going to pay $3-4 million for a quarterback. We are going to get a good quarterback. You even, you even look before the season even starts. You're already scouting your next quarterback. You're looking at years of eligibility, what he's done so far, how much his team he's with now, how strong are they in NIL, how much do you think it would take to get him? You go through all that. I mean, tampering they call it tampering, but it's doing business now also.
I agree.
But I'm just, if you did that, I mean, and you get a 4th or 5th year guy even at quarterback, you're going to be pretty solid at that position. You at least have a track record. When you look at all the names that came up when Nico left Tennessee, and you heard all the names that were coming up initially, some pretty good names.
You could have gotten some of those guys
from
December.
around the.
Yeah, that's
Excuse
right.
me?
Yeah.
You could have gotten some of those guys December, John. That's the point. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And you have the right. This is not something you want to do on deadline. You already have your ducks in a row before that moment of truth.
Yep.
You know who your top candidate is, your second, your third. You know what you have to spend, and you're ready to go get them.
Tony Vitello and Barnes, what those guys do, like Tennessee last year, they identified a shooting guard. Now, he didn't have a good season, but they agreed to a deal with him before the season started. Tim and Chattanooga.
Well,
that's what they did.
That's what you have to do now.
Now, they told the kid after the season, we're no longer interested in you, because the kid bombed out. I mean, he bombed out. And they were like, well, deal's off. But point is, if you don't think Tony already knows where they're going and who they're getting, this is not done nilly-willy, and it's not done at the last minute. You have got to. You should already know, if you're Tennessee football, who you're getting in the portal in December. Like right now. You should already know that.
And that has to be a priority.
I agree with that, John. Or more of a priority.
And it's more important than your high school recruiting class. But the caller makes a really good point about the high school recruiting and where Tennessee stands in the SEC. If you rank 11th in the country in recruiting, that's pretty good. 10th, 11th, 12th, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But if you're 7th or 8th in the SEC, those are the teams you're playing every Saturday. So that number 11 or whatever national ranking doesn't shine as brightly as it does once you get into league play, because then you're and I agree. I don't think, if you go back and look at Tennessee's recruiting through the years, even under the worst of circumstances, Tennessee's recruited a pretty good class. I'm talking a nationally ranked class. I mean, it never goes out and gets the 40th best class in the country. It's always a nationally ranked class.
Well, the quarterback, it kind of worked out for Ohio State, did it not?
I'd say.
Yeah, and
it worked out.
Yeah,
for
it
them.
did.
It worked out for them.
Did.
It worked out for Washington the year before that. It's worked out for Oregon several times as they've been able to find guys, and then they turn guys into NFL football players is what Oregon's been doing on a one-year basis. I think the guy that Oklahoma got is going to be a real nice player. Now, they brought his offensive coordinator with him. Obviously, Tennessee wouldn't have been able to do that because Josh Heupel was not going to let another coordinator come in the door. But that whole Nico thing, man, in hindsight, and this is my lesson I've learned from it, and I hope they've learned it too. The minute I hear that you're looking around is the minute, and I mean the minute, I say to you, goodbye. Have a good life.
Well, I'll leave you with this. Instead of putting their money into recruiting high school kids, I think we need to go the Miami Ole Miss route and hit the portal harder instead of wasting time in the recruiting high school kids. So that's where I'm at with it.
I appreciate you. Thank you, my man. Yeah, great talking to you in Chattanooga. Yeah, great talking to you. Call us again. I'm of the mindset that if this job opens, I want Lane Kiffin. That's where I'm at for this new
You should
era.
have said that to open the show if you wanted to get a lot of callers.
Well, that's just my mindset. If this job opens again, I'm ready to forgive that guy and give him a chance now that he's grown up because I think he'd be a hell of a coach here.
That's a whole nother show.
Well,
Tony, I got to leave. I got a
gotta
doctor's
go too.
appointment, man.
Love you, John. Love you,
See you.
Matt. Matt, give me a final prediction tonight, and I won't tell you I have that one. Vols win. I got it, Matt. 7-5. What do you think?
Well, that doesn't help. I think they get beat 7-3 tonight, and then they win tomorrow night.
You are a punk and a clown. Thank you, Matt Dixon. I love him. TGMD, check him out at Matt Dixon 3 online. Also, over at tclub.team today, where he shines like the sun in the middle of the day. Tomorrow, Throat's going to have some stuff. I'm going to invite Adam Sparks on tomorrow to talk about. He wrote some great stuff this week. The thing about how you can't be in all everything school if his house settlement goes through. The fact that this Adidas Nike thing, Tennessee might be looking to Adidas to kind of fill in some blanks for them. And then somebody's going to put some love on them, put some love on their name, even though the fans don't like Adidas. I mean, we have to freak out about everything. Do we have to freak about everything? Danny White, I mean, he got called everything but a paisan yesterday online by people. You called him everything but an Irishman. Florida, you get the copper card. Copper card call of the show goes to Florida, although there were tons of great calls today. I love you. I appreciate you. G to the B to the O. And come on, let's beat Arkansas tonight. We say. Let's make some bacon. We say. Peace. All right, let's run it back. Today's show was, I don't know. Today's show was interesting. Aren't they all? No, not really. But today's show was. Let's see here. Some are better than others. Not going to lie to you. Advice for those aspiring to do this. Do not try this at home. Just my advice for those aspiring to do this. As you listen today, just kind of listen, enjoy, learn. But do not try this at home. I would not recommend it, especially not around mixed company. It is your Thursday edition. John Adams will be here shortly, presented by Jennifer Morris, Next Move, SmokyMountains.com. John is, he's finna join us. Matt Dixon, as you've dug into the baseball Vols and really did your numerical deep dive, is this team kind of better or worse than you thought they were when you start looking at the numbers? Where are you here? Talk to me here. Talk to me here. better or worse than you thought?
Yeah. Well, I mean, from probably the preseason, I would say they're about where I thought they'd be. Obviously, the 20-0 start was kind of a little bit of fool's gold. And they just kind of feasted on some really bad pitching, and a lot of things just didn't translate. Guys didn't develop like they thought. I think the Keelan injury is probably a bigger deal than it appeared at the time, because it took your best bat out of your lineup for a few weeks. And then when he returned, it took away some DH opportunities for a bunch of your younger guys that really need at-bats at this point in the year. And you're to a point now where you can't afford to have guys work through things. So they've been really close at times to breaking through and getting some wins, but it just hasn't happened for them. So, I mean, they're, when you look at it compared to previous national champions and just overall in the SEC, it's still a pretty good year, which really goes to show you just how incredible of a job Tony Vitello and those guys have done here over the last 8 years. I mean, it's the best program in the sport, and fans are panicking and extremely disappointed. And there's still a chance that you can host a regional and potentially even a super regional in Lindsey Nelson this year as the defending national champion.
Which is almost unheard of. For teams to even get back to the deal is very difficult. For you to which looked like a certainty, a couple of weeks ago, because these guys, we're so used to them doing things that just for other programs in that sport just don't happen, because they've made it look so easy. But yeah, nothing's coming easily right now to these guys. I mean, nothing is coming easy. So, and I mean nothing. So, I'm fired up, focused, and prepared. Pretty pumped. Hey, Matt, what do you think of that 8 o'clock Eastern start tonight? That's going to be a little bit of a challenge, isn't it? Turning around a game story and all that.
Better if Liam Doyle was on the mound, but they're switching it up a little bit with going with Marcus Phillips for game 1, which is an interesting move. Because I think Arkansas, they have the TBD for their game for game 2, and that's when Tennessee's pitching Liam Doyle. So it's almost like, I mean, I don't think this is true, but it almost felt like Tennessee's kind of conceding tonight, and they have tomorrow night's game circled as the one that they have to win. Which I don't think that's necessarily true, but there's probably a little bit of strategy, a little bit involved in it.
So
is Berkey's on the call tonight, right?
Berkey's on the call. Berkey's on the golf course. Berkey's on the call. Berkey couldn't be bothered.
Oh yeah,
to do the show. He couldn't be bothered to do the show because he's on the freaking golf course. I mean,
he's out there paying day golf course.
I mean, that's exactly right. I don't even know what to make of Chris Burke at this point, but this ball club. Hey, Berkey never quit believing. Say what you want to say about Berkey, but Berkey never, and I mean ever, stop believing. Today over at Twitter, we're running a poll. And the poll is as follows, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. What do you think of this? What do you think of this Nike stuff? Nike, Adidas. I'm running a poll question right now. Matt, what do you make of it? What do you make of this? And our fans are outraged. Outraged.
Yeah, I don't know what all's going on behind the scenes with it. I think Nike's a lot better than Adidas. I don't have a huge opinion on it. I don't buy a ton of. I mean, the only I mean, I buy Nike shoes and then obviously Tennessee stuff, but I mean, I think Nike's a lot better than Adidas, but I don't know how much it matters. It used to matter in basketball recruiting. Probably don't think it does anymore in the NIL era.
Yep.
So, whatever. I mean, I'm sure Danny White's trying to make as much money as possible, and we'll see if this is more of a negotiation deal or if there's some real smoke behind it.
Go over to T Club. I mean, go over to at Tony Basilio on Twitter X and take a vote. I ask the following. Living Vol fan, for my merch, gimme Nike, Adidas, or anything but Adidas. Nike 64%, anything but Adidas 21%, Adidas 15%. Brian, why is there such a visceral seemingly hatred from our fan, which I'm not a fashionista, so it doesn't matter to me one way or another. I'm not a fashionista. I'm still wearing a Tennessee hoodie made by Columbia back in the day, wearing that around. But, Brian, what do you think of the whole Nike Adidas thing? And I'd like the living listener to talk to me as well. Why are we so viscerally anti-Adidas when my understanding with Nike is they haven't exactly adorned themselves in glory behind the scenes with these uniforms, and they've had some issues with Nike. No offense to them. I don't really have a dog in the hunt one way or another, but, Brian, what say you on this issue?
They need something to be mad about as part of it. And I would rather stay with Nike because since Nike came along, I think Rick Barnes' entire tenure has been with Nike. I believe he went to Adidas just before, or switched from Adidas just before he got hired. So
you're strobing, Brian.
With the Nike.
Yeah, you're in a spot today, Brian, where you're strobing around. I'm gonna let you reconnect because you're strobing. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what the kerfluffle's all about.